what's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Why do I have an echo? Where the fuck is that echo coming from? Test. Give me 1 second, guys. It's very weird. Test, 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 test. Test, test. Hello? Hey, that fixed? No. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Alright, I think that fixes it. I don't know. I still hear it, though. It's weird. Test, 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 test. Alright, I don't know. I'm going to leave it like that. I don't know why I'm getting a double echo. That's fucking really weird. Yo, what up, TK? Yeah, I don't know what's with the echo. I have no idea. I don't feel like fixing it right now. Is it gone? It's all gone on my end. I fixed it on my end. Is it still? Okay. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that is. Something with this Wave XLR mic thing, the settings just randomly change. It's so fucking weird. Yeah, it's gone. Alright, let me close this real quick. Alright, you guys, so welcome back to the stream. We are going to be watching some videos today and playing PoE. We're kind of just waiting for Dynasty Warriors to come out. So I'm gonna start. We're gonna start with this Asmongold. Do devs know what they want? What gamers really want? And while we do that, we're gonna farm PoE. And yeah, I think that's where we're gonna start. I'm gonna wait a minute, let some people get in here. I gotta set up a few screens real quick because I didn't do my intro. Let me get chat pulled up so I can see chat. How are things in the Middle East today? I see Trump got a peace deal in the Middle East. Got Israel and Gaza to quit shooting at each other. I think that's kind of good for everybody. Let you knows how you doing. Alright. So, let's see. Let's go. I'm not going to start the video quite yet. Let me pull the game up. Alright. So, I switched some stuff around yesterday. I know you guys really don't know a ton about this game, so I'm not going to go. No more wars, let's go, right? In the passive tree, we just switched our ascendancy to add more survivability, so we added Spell Ward. But we got Lost Culling Strike. We kind of added it with something else. We'll see how it works. Other than that, our passive points have not changed. And then we we changed around a bunch of these. I'm not going to go through all these. You guys really don't know what they are anyway. So, I need to get more spirit, though, so I can finish that off. We raised our... Whoa. Why can't I... Why don't... What is going on? What? Why does it not say how much damage they're doing? I don't like that. Why is it not telling me how much damage my shit's doing? It's a glitch? Oh, there it goes. So we went up almost 3,000 DPS on explosive grenades, about 1,000 DPS on explosive shot, but blind shot, really, flash grenade went up 2,000 DPS, and now does quite a bit of damage. Oh no! Oh no! I hit the portal. That was dumb of me. We gotta get away from the portal. Fucking lightning, man. Why am I not healing? There we go. Oh, and we're doing, right now, we're doing a tier 13 waystone, so we're doing a pretty high waystone. It's also on a boss map, and it's also juiced. The Faith of... No, I've never heard of it. What is it? The Faith of Dasachant? I don't know. I'm going to Google it real quick. Faith. Face of Dasa. Oh, it's a game, console game. Huh. It looks like a gotcha game or something. Nah, yeah, I've never heard of it. They're moving it to Unreal Engine 5 apparently. Prince of Persia. I liked Prince of Persia back in the day. I didn't play too much of the newer ones. Alright, we're gonna kill the boss before we do this this delirium shit because we need the waystones. Seems to be better survivability for sure. Alright. I'm gonna start this video. We can start watching this video. What time is it? Am I early? No, it's 11:14. Okay. Are they just gonna keep coming? Where the hell are all these guys coming from? Alright. I need to remember where this is on the map because I need to come back to it. Bro, what happened to Kamala Harris? She's been quiet since Trump won. Looks like she's crying. Yeah, she's not too happy right now. Her party's mad at her too, so everybody's kind of mad at her. Democratic Party has a lot of problems right now. They're kind of self-imploding, so... Trump won, broke their brains. I think it's great. I hate Democrats, bro. Fucking hate them. Terrible policies. Like California, maybe the 5th largest economy in the world, but it's also one of the worst states in the country. Fucking terrible education, record homelessness, fucking can't put out fires. Like, it's pay the highest taxes in the country and don't get shit in return. But you know what I say, Takey? Fuck the government. Fuck the state government. Fuck the federal government. None of them are looking out for you. Fuck the government in general. Taxation is theft. They shouldn't be able to get a fucking penny. Taxes shouldn't exist. We should be tariffing other countries and not paying taxes. There should be no income tax in the United States. We're the richest country in the fucking world. I have a lot of political opinions I typically don't talk about on stream. Kind of envy how well organized some of the Muslim countries are and some of the Muslim cities are, because they don't have a lot of the problems that we have. But that's mainly because they have harsh penalties for fucking crime. We used to have harsh penalties for crime, but they got rid of them for the sake of the criminals, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I think if you get caught stealing a car, you should probably spend 5 or 10 years in jail. Because if you did that, people would stop stealing cars. Like, if you made If you made armed robbery with a gun a capital offense, so if you rob someone with a gun, you get the death penalty. Guess what? You won't have armed robberies anymore. Like, people die. Yeah, harsh penalties suck for dumb people that still commit crimes, but it deters most of the other people. I'm all for super harsh fucking sentences for any type of violent crime, any type of crime regarding a weapon. That was pretty easy. We cleared that quick. Yeah, they're annoying. But it's not the people. It's not them. Well, I guess they are annoying. But it's their stupid, non-common sense policies. Like, policies that just make no fucking sense. Like legalizing theft in California, which has now been reversed because it led to 5 years of fucking chaos. But, like, you can't... people are naturally criminals. Like, if you take away penalties for crimes, people will do whatever they... Like, if you take away penalties for stealing, people are going to steal. If you take away penalties for fucking assault, people are going to assault people. Like, people are fucking stupid. Gotta remember, man, average IQ... Let's see what the average IQ... I'm going to go worldwide, just to make this analogy. What's the average IQ in the world? Average IQ in the world. The world average IQ is 100. Let that shit sink in. 100. That means half of the world, 3.5 billion people, are 15 IQ points away from being retarded. So you got to... 3.5 billion people are dumb as fuck. Like, it's... I think we need mandatory IQ tests. So I took an IQ test. I took two. I took one when I was in high school, and scored the same thing as I scored on the one I took about 7 years ago. I scored a 122. So I'm not a genius. I'm not super smart. I'm above average. But fucking a lot of people are below average. Like, if the average is 100, that means half of the people are below 100. Now, 85. So if you're 100, 15 points lower is an 85 IQ. 85 IQ is mentally retarded. Like, that's literally considered mentally retarded. So let's see. What percentage of the world has below an 85 IQ? Has below 85 IQ. Okay, there's a represented bell curve with the majority of scores falling within one of the deviations, meaning between 85 and 115. So the main big gap of average is 85 to 115. It's a 30-point spread. 32% of the world, that is 1/3, that is 2 billion people, have an IQ lower than 85. Most people are average. Most people fall in the range of... most people that can hold a conversation and be normal fall in the range of 100 to 115. I came in right above that at 122. I may be dumber now just because fucking of all the medications and shit I've had to take since my accident. But they, yeah, it's just it's crazy. And the problem is those 32% of people still get to fucking vote. So you have half of the Democratic Party's retarded, probably. Like, I don't know what percent of the United States is below 85, but I bet you it's higher than the world average. So anyway, so when you're walking out in the world and you have 10 people standing in front of you, 5 of those people are idiots. All right, let's Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Got stunned. Don't like that. We're definitely doing better with this build than we were doing yesterday. Having much less problems surviving because I was just getting murdered yesterday. I was dying in one hit so often. Where the hell does this fucking map go? I'm trying to find the boss. I want to kill the boss before we do all the activities. Excuse me. Sorry. Got the hiccups. Yeah, most people are average, but the problem is the below average people. They can't they don't like the people that just parrot talking points on TV. Okay, so let's switch into politics. So the people that you see online that just parrot the talking points that the news says on TV, those are the people that are below average. Like no critical thinking, just whatever the news tells me, I believe. I don't look into things. I don't say, "Oh, well, that's weird." Like that shouldn't be like they don't critically think. They just spoon-fed information and just suck that shit up. I want to do this shit, but I don't want to die. Where the fuck is the boss at? I don't know where the boss is. Like, we cleared the whole... Oh, wait. He's right there. Is that him right there? I think that's him right there. One shot. Fuck, man. God, this game is so infuriating. You can clear an entire fucking level and just get one shot out of nowhere. One fucking hit. Dumb. I want to say something, but I'm not going to say it. I'll get kicked off of fucking YouTube. What the fuck, man? Oh, hold on, guys. My door's ringing. Fuck, man. God damn it. I hate the random one shots are the most infuriating fucking thing in this entire goddamn game. It's so fucking infuriating. All right, I'm gonna start this video while we put together another run. All right, so this is it's called "Do Devs Know What Gamers Want?"
Know what gamers want? I think it depends on the devs. Yeah, it really depends on the devs, huh?
Hi everyone, it's me, Tim. Today I want to talk about, do devs know what gamers want? This video is a direct follow-up to my video last week. Do gamers know what they like? Before I made that video,
man. It's not.
I just mentioned I was going to do it in a comment section almost 2 months ago. And Lyre Noir said, personally, I think do devs know what gamers want is even a better question. And you know what? They're right. So both that video, so I made that video and then I made this one pretty soon afterwards.
Devs don't know what gamers want.
Keep in mind, these were made back in November. Not even that late November, kind of mid-November.
It's kind of sad because it doesn't even need to be anything recent, because I feel like devs have been out of touch with what consumers want and what players want for a long time. And I think that also one thing that's worse than that is that they are oppositional to what players want. So it's not only that they don't know what they want, they do know what they want and they don't want to give it to them.
And they actively don't give it to us. I agree.
I don't know what the comments were on that other one, and I have no idea what the comments are going to be in this one.
Doesn't read
I
the
think
comments.
it's better that way because I want to give you the raw, unfiltered response to, do devs know what gamers want? And here it is. No. No, we don't.
Okay.
Know what you want. We have no idea, seriously, what you want. I almost did this as a short. I was just going to do a short and go, do devs know what gamers want? Nope. And then cut it off.
That's the end of it.
You can stop here. If you want to know why it is we're so absolutely confused about what it is you want, keep watching. Because I know some of you are like, it's stupid. We know what you should know what we want. We don't.
Okay.
Here's the longer answer. And it's all kind of can be summed up as because you don't know either. But you got to remember, I'm saying the collective you. I wish English had the collective you. Southern English does. Y'all don't know what you want. Let me dive into that. This is a deep dive on why y'all don't even know what you want, which is why we don't know what to give you.
Yep.
First off, many of you only tell...
I think that he's right, but I also think that he's half right.
Taxi driver because someone passed out in the back.
People might not know what they want, but they do know what they don't want.
Prison. Jesus Christ.
Developers,
yeah, you can't really do that in a Muslim country, bro. They frown upon that shit.
You said what it is you don't want, but what is it you want?
The girl in Dubai got arrested just for
on how to give good feedback,
yelling at a person in a store.
But I can just say, when you keep
went
saying,
to jail.
I hate this in games, I hate this feature, I hate these kind of characters and all that. Great! What kind of characters do you want? If you hate sarcastic characters, well, guess what? There's an entire realm of non-sarcastic characters. But what is it you want? Do you want funny characters? Do you want serious characters?
I think that a lot of people, like, everybody wants something different, right? And that's always the issue, is that, like, how do you please everybody? I think that people want characters that seem authentic. And they want characters that behave in ways that seem realistic, but at the same time, they don't seem like they're a facsimile of the personalities of the people that are making the game.
Do you want characters with a lot of background? Do you characters that with very little, that you don't want to spend a time in a wall of text dialogue? What do you want?
We want relatable characters. Yeah.
That's why you have to tell us what you want and not what you don't want.
So when you make a non-binary character, it's not relatable to 99.9% of the population.
I think in a lot of those cases, it's not an example of, like, people want one thing or another. Like, you can have Elden Ring that's massively successful, and you can also have something like God of War that's massively successful. You don't really need to have, like, one specific version of it. I think anything like that could fit together. Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 characters, exactly. And so, like, if you go to the grocery store, you're gonna get steak and ice cream. Usually, if you want steak, you're not going to supplement that for ice cream or vice versa. But you get both of them because sometimes you like both of them at the same time.
Say what you want. You're often extraordinarily vague.
Yeah.
You will say, I want a better game. I want better AI. I want a better UI. Yeah, I'll just slide the better slider from okay to great on all of those. I have an entire video on...
I remember when he said that, it just reminded me of my old guild leader whenever we were doing Sarthurian 3 Drakes in Wrath. He says, okay, everybody, open up your menu, go to configuration, go to interface, and I want you to find the button that says shit at the game and make sure that it's unchecked. And it was just out of fucking nowhere.
Why developers need context to your feedback.
Yeah.
That's never more truer than when you give feedback. When you give, especially positive feedback. If you don't say what you're talking about, it can be really vague. For example, what does better for you mean in a game? Or when you say, how is that AI bad? What are you talking about? What are they not taking cover? Are they just running straight at you shooting? What do you mean? When you say you don't like a UI, what is the friction point in that UI that you're encountering? What is it that's bothering you?
I think that Jeff Kaplan said it best, where he said that you can't rely on players to give you a solution, but you can sure as hell rely on them to tell you when there's a problem. And I think that's always the issue that a lot of game devs have, is that they have to effectively translate this sucks into, like, actionable behavior.
Say that UI is dumb, it's not helping. And trust me, it's not just gamers who do this. I've worked with people who've literally said that out of their mouth. They're like, that looks dumb. Great, I'll get right on that. Sometimes, though, and, you know, I've talked about how some UI issues are really an underlying system mechanic issue. This comes up in the videos on encumbrance, where you can have a really good UI if your game supports encumbrance, but you take encumbrance out, and suddenly that same UI is terrible because people can carry more. And suddenly there's a lot more things in their inventory, and the UI you were using for a limited inventory doesn't work for a UI with an unlimited inventory.
See, this is what I was saying before about how, like, some game devs and people that are really, like, this guy made Fallout, right? Like, there's some guys and, like, people, right, women too, that understand, like, these second order effects of, like, changes and, like, mechanics in video games. And that's why they make video games that go on to sell, like, millions of copies for, you know, decades. And this is the same type of insight that people that, like, made classic WoW or, like, you know, Baldur's Gate 3 or, you know, Elden Ring, that they're all the same. This is a smart way to look at it.
So that's why you need to be very specific about what it is you didn't like. Do you really hate that UI? Or do you hate that you can vacuum up everything? And... Or do you want to be able to vacuum up everything, but you just wish the game would somehow organize it better? Be specific. Here's the one that really gets me, and that many of you refuse to acknowledge.
Okay.
You all... Again,
so this is us. We are the ones who are wrong.
Just had a plural you. You all do not agree on what a good feature is. Go back and watch both of my encumbrance videos. They're linked below. Or watch the video I had on fast travel. Or even the video I did on providing game difficulty, different options in there. Read the comments on it, which I know...
That's true. By the way, the correct answers are encumbrance is bad if it makes you spend more time managing inventory than playing the game. Game difficulty modes are bad, and they should be enabled through different types of gameplay, like things like Havel's Armor and Dark Souls 1. And I forgot the other one that he mentioned, but yeah, those are the correct answers and the right opinions to have.
Yeah, I think I agree with him.
Oh, fast travel? Fast travel is sometimes good and sometimes bad. It's usually good, but sometimes bad.
I think limited fast travel.
Wrong difficulties are
works.
great. No, they're not. They're bad. That's the wrong opinion.
A lot of you don't do, and you complain that YouTube doesn't do a good job of sorting them.
That's just not
pick
the right
one
way
of
to
those
look at it.
videos, set it to
not
show
true.
all the comments, and scroll for a few minutes. You will find that some of you literally say you will not play a game that is lacking a particular feature,
While you play that game.
and then keep scrolling, and you'll find people who hate games
Yeah.
that have that feature.
Oh, yeah, that
And
too.
it can be anything: fast travel, VO, walls of text,
Yeah.
story mode. Some of you require it, and some of you skip games that have it, and you have reasons for doing it. I'm not saying you're wrong.
I think that really the issue too is like he's bringing up a lot of good points is that you can't make everybody happy. This is one of the big issues that I think AAA development has.
Wow, that was a
is
little
that
map. That was quick.
They have development budgets that are so big that
That's
they
not good. We
strive
didn't
to
get
make
any
everyone
wastestones.
happy because they need to have a target audience that's that big in order to like theoretically generate a profit. And because of that, that's why they end up making flaccid, boring games. It's because they try to just give everybody everything and then also implement everything that everybody wants, and it's just a bad game ultimately. So I think that's what ends up happening, is that you have them that they're listening to everything, and there's no way that you can solve that problem.
What I am saying is there's no possible way to make a game that will make all of you happy.
Yeah, exactly. He's right.
What's interesting to me, and this channel has made me really acknowledge it, you don't even agree on the fact that all of you are disagreeing. Some of you don't acknowledge there are any other game players out there. There was a video I
Yep.
did where I said,
Well, I was the same way. Like, when I found out, so, like, I assumed,
No
I remember
wastelands,
whenever I was
fuck.
a kid, I assumed that girls didn't really play video games
gotta be
because
a
they're just
problem.
not good at video games. And, I mean, when you're 11 years old, I feel like that's a pretty default opinion, right? And, like, the ones that did play video games were bad. And so, like when I saw how popular like Animal Crossing was and Pokemon was with girls, I remember there was this one girl in high school that played Pokemon, and I thought she was a Pokemon. I was like, holy fuck, I didn't even know this was real. I was shocked.
people frequently want better graphics, but a lot of you ask for better graphics. And someone
Yeah,
said,
shiny,
and I
yeah.
quote, "No one asked for better graphics." I guess you never read a review and you don't go on any forum boards.
Yeah.
Because yes, they do. And keep in mind, better graphics, sometimes they're just talking about they want a higher resolution. They bought a 4K monitor and they're upset
Yeah.
they're not getting a game in 4K. Sometimes they want a farther view distance. They're upset
True.
that it clips really early. Or that there's always things blocking their view. They
Mm-hmm.
don't get a nice wide view of anything. Sometimes they just mean more creature variety or more location variety. These are all better graphics. These are all things that require a lot more art time, a lot more things to be loaded in, a lot better
Yep.
optimization of your engine. These are all going into the category of better graphics. And all of you, I guarantee, have asked for some form of better graphics at some point when you're responding to a question of what did you like and dislike about this game.
I think also like that's definitely true, and a lot of
Now
people
keep in
don't
mind
know.
too, sometimes you guys talk about art style.
Yeah, it's art style, really. It's art style and like shading and colors, and that's really what people are thinking about when they say graphics. I think a lot of people distill graphics down to just meaning fidelity, and I feel like that's only one small piece of the pie.
There's still 50 monsters remaining. Where the
But
fuck
everything I
are
just
they?
mentioned, even if the art style stays the same, you will need more polys and more textures and more everything just to give you more creature variety or more location variety. So just that means it falls under the aegis of better graphics, but means more work,
Still
more
50
artists,
monsters.
more
I don't know where they
time,
are. They
more
must be down
money.
here.
Yep.
And many of you say, well, I don't really care about graphics. I'm one of you. Graphics have never been high on my list of what I care about in a game. But many, many, many
Allison,
players
Fiona,
are
21, thank you
attracted
for
to
the
a
follow.
game by its pretty graphics, even if they stay afterwards because the gameplay is so good.
That's
Pretty
true. Graphics are a really good first impression selling point. Like people
You need
will look at a game
graphics
that
to an
looks really
extent.
good. Like for example,
Like,
that Dawn
there's an
Walker game
extent of a
yesterday looked
diminishing
crazy
returns with
good,
gra-
right? And
There's definitely an extent of diminishing returns with graphics. Like I love World of Warcraft. I think it's a great game. It does not have good graphics, but I love the game. I love the art style. Like, I don't necessarily think graphics are everything. You need decent graphics. Depending on the type of game, you may need more realistic graphics for certain types of... Like Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption's fucking landscape, dude, that shit was so spot on. You don't need anything better than that. I think the dev that's talking is kind of right, though. The reason they don't listen to people's requests is because people, like, if you have 1,000 people talking to you about your game, my headphones aren't working right now. Can you chat instead? I don't know what the fuck that means. I just think there's a diminishing returns. Like, I think he's right. You get 1,000 people. They all tell you what they want out of a game. You're going to get 1,000 different answers. So you really just can't make everybody happy. You just need to build a good game. Like, you have to focus on just making a good game. And then the people, well, if it's good, they'll play it. Like, it doesn't matter. Graphics aren't everything.
They'll be like, holy shit, this looks amazing. And I do think, like, if you have a low-quality game like that with bad graphics, that's how Genshin did so well, even though it's shit. Well, it did, yeah. It looked really, really good. And that's also, like, art direction and, like, graphical style, too, more so than anything else specifically. Throne Liberty sucked me in with its graphics, but the gameplay and the core sucks. See, to me, it was the same way. Like, Throne and Liberty was a game that the graphics and the style of the game, well, the style was kind of mediocre, but the fidelity of the game was really good. It's just that the gameplay was dog shit.
Graphics opened the door. I've told some designers under me, sometimes it's like dating. Your head may be turned by the prettiness,
Yeah.
but you stay because of the personality
short on
and the
fire.
chemistry.
Well-
So it's like that with games. Make a pretty game, more people will at least get their eyeballs on your game. Then they're stay because of the mechanics. And then later on, they're deny ever even looking at your game because it was pretty. One of the things I want to point out is many of you argue against things that would make a game that even tries to provide more things for more players. And I've talked about how design by committee is bad, which I agree with.
Yes.
And usually that leads to making a game that's so bland and
He's
vanilla.
talking about Dragon Age Veilguard, by the way. It's Starfield.
That no one can really have an argument against it, but nobody really feels like playing it.
That's
what I
right.
mean by that is many of you literally have argued that games should have fewer game options. I'm not even talking
That's
about game
true.
difficulty, just fewer game options. I have a video on game options. I'll link it below. Again, read those comments.
Yep.
Many of you are going, yeah, I hate when games have a lot of options. I don't know what to set. The designer should have decided that. Why are they making me do that? That just means
I
they didn't have a
disagree with
strong
that.
vision.
I want as many graphics options as
Ignoring
possible.
The fact that many of those options are there to let more people play the game. I'm colorblind. That's a disability. There are games I literally cannot play because they have puzzles or information that I'm supposed to pick up on that's color-based, but there are no color blindness options.
That's a
The
good
worst
point.
ones of these are ones that don't say up front that they do that.
Yeah.
And then later I'm
That's
playing
a
the
very
game
good
and I
point.
realize I'm playing it wrong, or I've encountered puzzles that I literally cannot solve.
Yeah.
And there's no option to do so. Super frustrating.
That's accessibility, not difficulty. I think that one of the worst things to happen to the accessibility discussion in video
guess we're using
games
that
is
one.
for people to view disabled gamers as, like, retards. Where, like, if you're a
Gamers view me as a retard because I'm a disabled gamer? Yeah, I have no idea. Allison, Fiona, I'm not, you obviously if you have no headphones you can't hear me, but I'm not text chatting. I'm trying to play a fucking game. There's no fucking way I'm text chatting. You can take that shit somewhere else. What was I gonna say? I can't remember.
disabled person, maybe
Yeah.
your arm doesn't fucking work.
Yeah, my arm doesn't
But that
work.
doesn't mean that you're an idiot.
Definitely not
It
an
doesn't
idiot.
mean you don't want to be challenged. So figure out a way for that person to play the game with one fucking arm. So, and the issue I think happens a lot where you have video games that their idea of accessibility is making the game so piss easy that it doesn't matter what you do wrong. You can flip and flop and flail around for 5 minutes, but if you get 3 hits on the boss, it's dead. Well, that doesn't really sound like a very compelling and rewarding experience, does it?
So let me sum up, because I've been ranting for a while.
Yeah.
I get
Fake
that
accessibility,
you,
yeah.
the individual, want what you, the individual, want. But you have to realize that you, the individual, are not very good at giving developers feedback, and that you, the individual, are not everybody the game's being made for.
Give me 1 second.
Many of you aren't even in the majority, and I hear you. I don't think I'm in the majority. I like a lot of niche games. I've made a lot of niche games.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I'm saying here is game development is hard on its own, technically. But this lack of consensus among game players about what they want takes...
I think that what they should do is that they should make Dark Souls 1 again all the time. Like, basically everything that Dark Souls 1 did, just do that again. It's really simple. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, really, I mean, people try to overcomplicate. I don't think it's that complicated at all.
That difficulty to
Call of Duty? Yeah.
new level. It's that much harder to make a game that you want to be popular, that you want to have a lot of sales, because most of you don't know what you want.
Yeah.
Those of you that do know what you want are very vague at expressing it. And many of you don't realize that what you want isn't what a lot of other people want. This is why, for most of my career, I just made what I wanted, what I liked. I hoped other people would like it, but it was me and the team just trying to make something we'd like that would make each other laugh, make each other have fun. And we were like, gee, I hope people like this. We weren't sure. We didn't care. And when marketing would ask us questions like, what's the demographic for your game? We didn't know. We didn't have an answer. And most of us, we didn't even care. We're like, I don't know. Why don't you go home and play the game and tell me what you think, who would like it?
Makes sense.
All right. I just wanted
Many
to
of
comment
you like
on
my
that.
earlier games. Maybe it's because I did make them in a vacuum like that, and I wasn't thinking what people thought.
I think that
However, I
it's
can tell
definitely
you,
true.
my later
Yeah, like other, like newer games, it does seem like a lot of times they're
All right,
designed
we're gonna
for a
run this
target
12.
audience. And I think that it's good to design for a target audience, but I feel like a lot of the best games are the ones that devs make for themselves. Like, I think Baldur's Gate 3 is a really good example of that. So yeah, it's definitely true. The vision, yeah, it's like people need to have like their own internal
Increase
vision.
monster damage,
the
great.
game sold more copies. So what's the right path? I don't know. But I can tell you this. Do game developers know what game players want? No, we don't.
They don't. There it is. Yeah, I'll tell you that. I could have told you that automatically. Like, I that was a fact. Like, a lot of players, the reason why they have trouble being able to figure out what
I need
people
fucking
want,
waystones. Shit.
it's actually super simple, right? And, like, you're 1,000% right. Yeah, it's like you have to target, like, I think it's, well, for AAA games, I think the main reason is actually super simple. It's because they try to design it for too many groups of people, and you can't end up making all of those groups of people happy. You can make some of them happy some of the time, but you can't make all of them happy all of the time. And what ends up happening is that you have games made like Suicide Squad, like Dragon Age Veilguard, like Starfield. And I mean, the woke stuff is like kind of irrelevant, really. Like, you take out all the woke stuff out of Dragon Age and the game's still kind of bland, right? Same thing with Suicide Squad. So, like, Concord, right, even. And so, like, these things are maybe minor
literally
canaries, but
mentioning
they're
me.
really
Yeah.
not they're
Sure.
not the real problem. And so I think the main issue is that games that are designed for everybody end up appealing to nobody. And that's why when
That's
you see
100%
small development
true.
studios that just make games that they think will be really fun and that they think people will like or that they like, that's whenever you see things really go well, I would say, more than anything. One of the main problems is games are being made mainly for adults instead of children and teens. For example, Nintendo targets children and teens, and it has the least unhappy fans. The only thing that Nintendo fans complain about is lack of releases. Perhaps I'm blinded by nostalgia. I think that Nintendo definitely has more of a target audience, and they have more of like consistent, like a continuous, consistent strategy. And I think that that's caused them to have a lot of success, definitely. So, you know, games are for kids and teens? Well, some of them are, some of them aren't, right? I mean, you have a game for Grand Theft Auto, you're having your kids play that. Maybe that's not the best decision, right? Or something else. Vampire Stars is an example of a good game made by a developer just to have fun and it ended up great. Yeah, I think so too. Children deserve really good content too. Yeah, I think so also. And so what ends up happening is that I feel like a lot of games end up being developed and they end up, I'll link you guys the video. I think this was a good video. And he's right that a lot of players want different things, and I think that developers fail when they try to just go with the thing that the most people want, rather than going with the thing that fits the vision of the game in the best way and the most comprehensive way. And I think that's a big mistake of what happens, right? It definitely is.
Last year.
Okay.
And what I've learned is Twitch is much higher potential to earn money while live than YouTube, and it's because of things like the Twitch Primes, which have become a pretty integral part of the Twitch ecosystem, and ads. Twitch actually has more ads than YouTube, and thus, since more ads are playing, that's more money being generated from those ads to the streamers.
Sure.
There's so fucking many ads on Twitch. They
Yeah,
pump
Xbox
ads
is
out
kind
the
of falling
wazoo,
off.
and they are
Which is crazy
so
because I used to be an
intrusive.
Xbox, like I was a
wouldn't be
hardcore
surprised
Xbox
if-
player.
Should I say this? I remember.
Yeah, I
was
think
talking with Schleich,
right now for consoles, I
and
mean
he was showing me
PlayStation's
'cause
got
he would
things
do
on lock.
long-form videos and put tons of ads in them with his.
But I also
YouTube
think
videos.
consoles are dying. I don't think they're
Absolutely
going to have
fucking
consoles for
farming.
much longer.
Massively fucking fun.
As
right?
as
And so,
diminishing
like,
returns
people- you
happen on
can do the
PC
same thing
hardware
on Twitch.
as
Like,
the
if
hardware
you spam ads, you can make
that is
so
a couple
much
years
fucking
old
money
can
if you
still
spam
play
ads.
games. You can
Like,
start
there's
building
people
really
that are
cheap
making
PCs.
The majority of their revenue from just spamming ads. So, like, if you do, I think that, like, you really have to compare the amount of ads that you're
We're
spamming
fucked. If we don't get any
and
wasters,
the
we're
amount of,
fucked.
like, ads that you're running. Because, like, there are some people that don't really run any ads. Like, for example, like, me, Hassan, a few other people don't really run any ads. But there's other people that run ads all the time. Like, I know Kai runs ads a lot. You know, like, Lacey runs ads a lot. Tons of people run ads a lot. And so, Flats Overwatch does ads. Well, yeah, right? And so, Imaru spams ads. I have no idea. But, like, what I'm saying is that Thor does it, Ninja does it, I'm not sure. But my point is that a lot of people do it, and the reason why they're doing it is it makes a lot of money. But you can also put the ads in your YouTube as well. So it depends on the ad density.
Twitch integrates a system into their player
Russell
that has
spams
like eye
ads.
tracking
Of course he does.
capability. So if a viewer looks away during an ad break, it'll pause the ad till their eyes are glued right back to it to finish the ad. It's brutal.
Yeah,
but
it's so fucking annoying, man. Yeah, and doesn't that bite you in the long run as a streamer, that is? I have seen no evidence so far that a streamer has had a long-term decrease in viewership because of a low amount of ads. Or, sorry, a high amount of ads. I haven't seen any evidence for that. Now, obviously, people can give personal testimony, but that doesn't really matter a lot to me than statistics, right? And so, like, I haven't seen that happen yet. Well, yeah, I mean, it's been going on for 4 years. I think that we probably would have seen it happen. But yeah, because you leave and come back and the ads aren't that bad.
Yeah,
basically. I
fucking
disagree.
jet
I will
just
literally
flew
click
over
off the
my
stream
house,
if I
low
made
as
ads.
fuck.
You disagree with my
Fucking
general
vibrated
statement
my chair.
by asserting your personal
I live near
anecdote?
an Air Force base, so
Okay, thanks a
occasionally we
lot.
get jets
I
flying
really
over.
appreciate your input. Anyway, I haven't seen any evidence this happens in the big picture.
it does have higher earning potential while live for those streamers that have all of these ad breaks that are going on. So Twitch has a higher earning potential through live content.
Right.
And the VODs on Twitch don't make any money. Like, they just don't. I don't even know if they're fucking monetized. And if they are, I don't know if streamers even see.
Everything about VODs on Twitch is bad. Discovery for them is bad. Playback for them is bad. Chat playback for them is bad. The quality is bad. The payouts or everything about them is bad.
A penny of that. Like, not a single one of those fucking clams makes
Yep.
it to a streamer's pockets through the VODs. But on YouTube, it's a totally different story. My most successful stream on YouTube isn't the one I just had at the Game Awards with over 110,000 live viewers, which is my biggest stream by viewer metrics.
Damn.
The most profitable stream I've ever done, the most profitable anything I've ever done is this stream right here, my Starfield stream.
I'm playing Starfield now. Look at his fucking face. That's the way I felt playing the game, too. It's perfect. Oh, God. Fucking Starfield.
During the stream, I had 31,000 average viewers with a peak of 38K, which is a big stream. That is a big stream for me. It's actually more average viewers than the Rocket League one, but the Rocket League stream not only was a longer stream, but had a higher peak, and thus you would expect make more money because of the ads and the subs that came through.
Sure.
Well, what if I told you That's not the fucking case when it comes to YouTube streaming. Because this Starfield video actually made $84,000. 84,000 doubloons for a 4-hour stream just playing mid-poop-ass Starfield. The actual... Like, this was like an insomnia, try not to fall asleep...
It's an $84,000... Dude, that's crazy.
Challenge,
wow.
basically. $84,000. And it's not because the 31,000 viewers all of a sudden just started... you know, buying memberships.
Well, you can see right there how you make money. It's all from the ads. 79,000 was all from ads.
Getting tons and tons of money. This wasn't like the biggest documented case of credit card fraud and money laundering that the internet's ever seen. In fact, the live stream itself made 1.6K on ads, and the other $78,000 came from the VOD and the ads that.
Man, we got.
I don't know.
We got a lot of those, huh? How's the Astrobot video doing?
I need to switch videos. I don't know what video started auto
Yeah,
playing.
928,000.
Unless y'all want to finish watching this, I don't know what this is though.
Yeah, that's a lot. He basically got paid to play Starfield. Yeah. Well, let me see. I don't think my
Twitch
Starfield
versus
video
YouTube
did that
streaming
well,
revenue.
right? It's probably it's all just me talking shit about Starfield. Asmon plays Starfield for the first time. It's a 15-hour video.
Oh, let's see. Hey, I just showed up. Wow, I never show up in the fucking front page. That's weird. All right, let me see. What do y'all want to watch? What do we got here? Hey, this is a video on Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant's size gave him everything.
The largest and highest paid and best known wrestler in the entire world.
Once being listed by the Guinness Book of Records as the highest paid wrestler ever. These same genetics, however, made his life a living hell, with Andre famously stating, "I would give much money to be able to spend 1 day per week as a man of regular size." When he was born, Andre already weighed 13 pounds or 6 whole kilos, which is almost double the average male baby, weighing 3.3 kilos or 7.5 pounds. Growing up, Andre played soccer, with his childhood friends stating he used to be the goalie, but the ball would never go in because he was so
Andre
big.
the Giant was a
By
big
the age
ass
of
dude.
12, Andre was 6'3" and 240 pounds or 108 kilos.
6'3", 240 at 12.
He was too
That's
big to fit on the
huge.
local school bus, and his family didn't have the money to buy a car that could deal with his weight. As a result, Andre left school to work on a farm, where one day a friend of the farm's owner drove slowly past the field in a Rolls Royce. "I will own such a car as that someday," Andre said quietly. "Stop dreaming and start raking," his father replied. "You are a big boy, but that dream is too big even for you."
I said to my dad, "Someday I will get a car like this." And he said, "Quit dreaming and keep walking."
According to his brother, Andre did the farm work of 3 different men and would drive an unregistered car as the cops wouldn't dare to stop him. When he tried to join the military,
Andre was deemed unfit for service as there were no shoes big enough, bunks long enough, or trenches deep enough to accommodate him.
yet these same issues made him
Bigger
a
than the
wrestling
trenches in war?
sensation. He'd officially become Andre the Giant, a famous televised wrestler.
The
but
problem
more
with
notably
police
had
body
grown
cam
so
footage is I'm
much, his
listening,
own
I'm not
parents
actually
didn't
watching the
recognize him
video.
when he
You guys
came
are watching the
back home.
video,
My
and I won't be able to tell
parents
what's
were
going
a
on.
big fan of me, you know, they saw me on TV, but they don't know.
Your parents were a fan and they didn't know it was you.
No, because I changed my name.
At over 7 foot tall and 500 pounds or 227 kilos, Andre saw a doctor to figure out why he'd grown so much. Acromegaly was the diagnosis, a rare 1 in 12,000 brain tumor causing the body to produce excessive growth hormone. It leads to extra large hands, feet and fingers, as well as a bigger jaw, nose, lips and tongue. According to Ripley's Believe It or Not, his fingers were so big around that the ring he wore had an opening that could easily fit a silver dollar, which is 38.1 mil. To put the size
Jesus
into
Christ, that's
perspective,
huge.
the average man's finger is around 10 to 11 mil around. This could be seen in interviews like this.
This is his ring, and I kid you not, I can get all 3 fingers in that ring.
With people on Reddit adding, favorite fact is that Andre was so large, he could push a hard-boiled egg through his wedding ring. My wife met him once and instead of a handshake, she said she could only shake one of his fingers. These elements made him so unique that when doctors offered to remove his tumor, Andre bluntly refused.
He decided that he didn't want treatment at that time because he thought it would interfere with his career as a wrestler.
He'd state, if this is the size that God wanted me to be, I'm going to be this size.
I use what God gave me. I'm not supernatural. I just myself. So what God gave me, I use it to make a living.
However, this gave him
I like the
a
way he
short
talks.
life expectancy.
The commissioned doctors at Madison Square Garden told me he's going to be lucky to live to be 40.
And meant he'd keep on growing until the day he'd die. By the time he'd joined the WWE, Andre had reached 7'4", peaking at 560 pounds or 225 kilos.
What size boot is that, Andre?
It's 22, size 22.
Take a look at that along my size 9.
This made him the most successful wrestler ever.
Without a doubt, Andre was the most famous wrestler in the world.
Yet it also continued to make his life harder.
It's difficult everywhere I go. They don't build anything for big people. They build everything for blind people, for crippled people, for some other people, but not for big people.
Andre was constantly visiting new cities.
The nature of your job, you're traveling all the time, aren't you? Like 320 nights a year.
Yes.
Which came with its own set of challenges.
Hotel beds, are they a problem?
I try to find a hotel where they got a king-size bed. The worst is when I go to Japan, all those cars are so small.
Sure.
Even in the hotel, I can go through the door, I can go to the bathroom, everything is so small.
Andre was too large to fit inside
So
most
fucking
cars.
big, bro.
When I'm traveling with a car, I need 2 cars.
That's right. You can't even get in it.
There's nowhere for the giant to live anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Well, you can put 1 car in each foot.
Taking a taxi wasn't a better alternative.
Funny story, one time we couldn't get a taxi because he was so big.
And when they finally got one, Andre was charged extra.
We ask him how much he is, and we see the counter, he charges double. So you're a big guy, you have to pay double.
It seems that flying was Andre's only option, where he'd have to book the entire exit row. However, thankfully, he was able to
He had to
fix
book
this
the
problem.
entire
What about
row.
plane travel? Does that get old after a while? Awful?
I go in first class, but I don't think mine was.
Despite this costing an absolute fortune,
I'm traveling so much. Last year, I bought for $67,000 just an airplane ticket.
there was still another even bigger flying problem. Andre couldn't fit inside the toilet. He therefore had to relieve himself prior to boarding.
Andre would always time it so that he would take a dump before, he went to the airport.
But in one notable instance, he forgot to go beforehand.
He had to take a
He's
shit.
up in first class, and he tells them, I gotta go. And they're like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do?
The onboard solution wasn't exactly glamorous,
He would relieve himself into a bucket, and then they'd bring it in and dump it into the toilet.
but in retrospect, the story's pretty funny.
Wait a minute. So wait, he had to take a shit on an airplane. This motherfucker had to take a shit on an airplane. He wouldn't fit in the bathroom, so they got him a bucket and emptied it into the bathroom. Oh, he's huge, bro. He's like 450 pounds, like 7'5". He's one of the biggest people fucking I've ever seen. He was a wrestler in the 80s and early 90s.
That started coming out. There was people falling out of their seats almost into the aisles, puking, crying, screaming.
Sadly, this didn't only apply to planes.
He gassed everyone out on the airplane, bro.
There's no toilet gonna take his ass.
And with monumental bells came monumental farts.
It sounded like, like a deep roar kind of like thing. It would rumble.
On the set of Princess Bride, this actually halted production.
He lets out the most monumental fart. The whole plywood set was shaking, and the sound guy lifted his headphones off his ears and was doing that, and it went on for, somebody timed it was 16 seconds.
While Andre's former wrestling opponents thought the wind lasted even longer.
And I could feel my fucking shoulder just vibrate like. You know how long a giant can fart? How long? About 40 seconds.
Andre was so different to everybody else, it got to the point of public ridicule. Hulk Hogan explained when we'd walk through the airports, if he got ahead of me, I'd hear all the unkind things that people would say. Oh my God, look at that guy.
And he
It would just
apparently
break
he
my
was a
heart.
gentle
They
giant.
perceived him as a freak
Like
of
he was
nature,
super
and that hurt
nice.
Andre more than anything. This guy was very sensitive. Boss, sometimes they laugh at me, they point at me. It hurts my feelings. You never think a guy like that would cry? but he would cry.
Andre
Yeah,
stated
I heard
in
he
an
has
interview,
really,
I would
really
give
sensitive.
much money to be able to spend 1 day per week
Ain't
as a
nothing wrong
man
with
of
that.
regular size. I would shop and I would go to the cinema and drive around in a sports car and walk down Fifth Avenue and stare at the other people for a change. Disguising himself in public simply wasn't possible.
Muhammad Ali could put on a trench coat and a ball cap. Andre the Giant couldn't hide in the backseat of a car.
Instead opting to numb himself completely.
He never, ever quit drinking. He drank from the time he got up to the time he went to bed. If he could figure out a way, he'd just done it in his sleep.
While Andre's drinking feats are often highly romanticized, there's no denying he had a serious
Yeah, he had a
problem.
tumor that creates a growth hormone.
Drank like, I'm not exaggerating, like 20
Yeah,
bottles.
I'm gonna pause this for a second. Yeah, Jake. So, I took a week off for Christmas. During that week, I fell and I wrecked my back. That's why I haven't been on. I was on yesterday for a little while. I can only sit in the chair for 2 or 3 hours before it gets painful. They did an MRI last week. We're trying to figure out what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong. So, it's wrecked. Like, it hurts sitting here right now. So that's why I haven't been on. So we're back to streaming. I'm taking it day by day. I'm going to go 3 hours, try to do 2 or 3 hours a day until we're back to 100%, and then we'll be back to normal. Yeah, it sucked. I mean, I had a good Christmas. Everything was great. Had time with the family. Just the fall sucked.
Doing so to cope
Hope
with
you had a
his
good Christmas too,
difficult
Jake.
life.
He drank because he was in pain. His spine and his neck and his knees gave him a lot of trouble.
He drinks 6 bottles of wine before every wrestling match, with Jake the Snake explaining that Andre once drank 48 beers in a single car trip.
He drank 2 cases of beer and did not have to piss. How can you do that?
This was nothing compared to a different
Drank
night.
2 cases of beer
You
without
in
peeing?
one sitting drank 117 beers?
Yes.
Were you drunk at the end of that?
I don't remember. I think I passed out.
With Andre's unofficial record being 156 beers in one sitting, which fellow wrestlers Dusty Rhodes and Michael Hayes confirmed. However, this only added extra weight onto his body.
I myself saw him almost every night drink 7,000 calories worth of alcohol.
Which seemed to be the primary motive for why he eventually quit.
But you don't drink anymore.
Not since 14 months ago I quit.
You feel better for not drinking?
Yeah, because when I was drinking beer, I used to weigh 560 pounds.
And you've trimmed down now to...
Right now, I'm 470.
This led to the infamous Andre the Giant vs Hulk Hogan, after which his career was basically over. When he next came to a match, Andre was using crutches, showing the decline of his physical health. He'd retire to a ranch in North Carolina until he flew back to France for his father's funeral. He'd take this photo after the ceremony without realizing that 3 days later, Andre himself would die of a heart attack.
I'd like to announce the death of one of my favorite wrestlers and one of the most famous wrestlers of all time. He died this week in Paris, France, after going home to his father's funeral.
His body was too large to fit in any French crematorium, and as a result he was shipped back to the USA. His ashes weighed 17 pounds or almost 8 kilos, being just another reason he's remembered as a legend.
Just want to see what this does. Increased waist stones, 30%. I think we're good. Need to find a good map to do. I need to work towards a boss, man. There's no bosses anywhere on this fucking map. Like, I don't get, like, people are like, oh, we get lots of boss fights, but I don't ever get them. Like, they're over here, I can't get over there. There's one right there. There's one right there. Maybe we'll do that one. See if we can get down to this one. There's 2 right here. I need waystones, man. I need to get more waystones out. Give me a sec, I'll switch the video. I don't know why it's playing. Oh, it autoplayed, that's why. Alright, let's see what we got. Don't care about that. I'm just trying to find decent shit to watch while we farm. I was watching Rogan before I started streaming. What y'all want to watch? We gotta find something to watch, man. My feed on my fucking computer is terrible compared to the algorithm that's on my phone. My phone has, like, this algorithm's so weird. Yeah, I used to watch Princess Bride. Finishing a stream and then go turn the AC and go to bed wearing it. Yeah. Oh, man. Alright, what happened to Vice? Oh, man. Dude, just the algorithm is just crappy. Trying to find something that's a little longer, man, because I don't want to have to, every 10 minutes I don't want it to stop to change.
All the pages in the world, and I talk about who the people were.
Gen Z is 8. Oh, actually, there's another one I wanted to watch.
How Gen Z became the poorest generation. What's this? Is it because they're stupid? It's because they're stupid. They got little brains.
Almost everywhere online, you'll notice videos, articles, and news clips talking about Gen Z becoming poorer. And we've even done so on this channel before too. But oftentimes, you'll see people.
Look,
say
my
it's
daughter.
because
This
Gen
is a
Z
Yeti
are
cup.
lazy
My
and
daughter
entitled
made me
not
this
having enough children or families.
for
We
Christmas.
feel like they said the same thing about millennials whenever we were the same age as Gen Z.
She painted it and clear coated it
'Cause
herself.
That's what I remember.
Population collapse looming over the horizon as many warn about what's to come when there just aren't enough children to sustain the coming future. Is this
Well, we
all
won't need children. We'll have robots.
just because Generation Z supposedly wastes all their money on morning Starbucks and owning an iPhone? Well, it doesn't take long to realize that this is far from the truth, and is merely a band-aid type reasoning over the massive gaping wound causing Generation Z to become so much poorer than other generations.
Jesus.
So are Generation Z, an entire generation of people around the West, just really that lazy if they physically can't work more than 12 hours a day to sustain a life? How is it that in the past you could really just get a job through an ad in the local paper on only a high school diploma, and by living off a regular normal salary, you could have a big house, a stay-at-home wife, with 3 children, all sustained by just one salary at your normal job?
That's crazy. Like, that's the thing that I feel like most people are mad about, is the fact that they can look at these old movies and these old shows, and it can be like some dumb fuck husband who, like, what does he do? Like, he goes to work and he works on an assembly line, and he has a house, 2 cars, and a boat. What the hell?
It's this giant disparity in such a short time span where people can barely survive today,
Yeah.
where the living conditions have become so much worse. Why does it appear that to live a normal life now is just so out of reach for most in Generation Z? And what effect will this have on the future? Well, to better understand this whole situation, we need to go back in time to compare the life of a regular person to someone today.
1950.
In the past,
Ooh.
for
Trying
other
to kill some of the
generations,
pats
higher
that are
education
around
was
them.
a sure way of moving upwards in the
Yep.
social
Okay,
structure.
okay.
However,
No, no,
today,
no.
this is just becoming more and more of a financial black
Almost
hole.
killed me.
College
How many of you
Tried to kill
guys
me.
know somebody who is basically, like, they have a bunch of student aid debt, and, like, they can't get out from under it?
Yeti gang.
Because I know a lot
Bro,
of people
I have
that
so-
are like that.
I have 3 Yetis with the handle, and I have 2 of the Yetis without the handles. Like, the ones with the handles I use around the house. Usually one's out in the garage. I have a coffee pot out in the garage. And then The other ones I use when I go out in the car because they, without the handle, they fit better in the cup holders. I'm learning.
Especially, like, I mean, now
we're gonna learn why Gen Z is so
A lot of
poor.
my friends have gotten jobs and shit like that, and they've been able to pay it off. But for a long time, that was the case.
I don't think it's just Gen
which
Z. I
has
think it's
doubled
everybody
the
at
amount
this
that
point.
students will have to pay in the last 20 years has completely exploded.
Yeah.
If we count that with inflation, the tuition for public colleges in the US has jumped by more than 213% compared to the 1980s. Baby boomers would pay about $10,000 converted with inflation to 2018, but Generation Z now at the very minimum is paying $25,910.
Oh my
and more
god!
often than not,
And
it's
that's
often
only in 2020. Look at that to 2021. So it's probably even more than that now.
well into the six-figure range, as this number also excludes rentals, administration fees, stationery and food, which is why there's such crippling debt all over America for students right now. And even if you do get the best grades and scholarships possible, many Generation Z students are still required to take on these huge predatory loans, loans that stay with you even if you go bankrupt. And
Yeah,
so
I think the big problem with student loans is the fact that I think that it's grooming. Because, like, students are brought up and people are brought up to think that you need to go to college, and you're in an institution that for 12 years institutionalizes you into believing that you need to go to college. And so it's like you're basically trying to brainwash somebody for 12 years to take on indentured servitude for life. And some people are able to, like, overcome it, some aren't. But the reason why I think that they're unethical is the fact that you're doing it to a person who is underage and can't really consent to a contract and doesn't really understand these different types of, like, amount of money. That happened to me. Yeah, exactly, right? And so you're going to tell us a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, and it's like the moment they turn 18, it's like, okay, well, now you're completely free to make every decision, which is like, yeah, it's true, but it's still unethical to do, I would say.
Even when they make it outside of university,
student loans are
they
super
now have
predatory,
a huge
man.
burden of loans hanging over them, restricting
just went
all
through
of their
this with my
financial
daughter.
decisions. And all of this for really what? Unless your degree is specifically needed for your line of work.
By the
I'm
way,
gonna die. I'm gonna
this
die. I'm
is
gonna
the
die.
reason
No, run.
why
Run.
why people think
Don't
TikTok
get
is
stuck.
making,
Don't get stuck.
young people hate America. It's not because of China, it's because of this.
Dude, that was so close to
They're
death.
blaming China because they don't want to look at this.
A degree doesn't seem like a direct pathway to a good job anymore. It doesn't even guarantee entry-level jobs that can barely cover daily expenses, and universities are just becoming less and less of an option without enrolling in highly competitive career-focused courses. As Gen
Yeah, like
Z...
a good example was, like, didn't Extra Emily say she had like a college loans of like $170,000? That's a lot of money. Like $170,000. Wow, big money.
entered the workplace, it was a culture shock to be expected to do jobs that didn't suit their idea of what working would be. As now most companies...
It's like, imagine if she didn't become a streamer, right? Like, think about how long that would just, like, fuck your life up.
Need work experience, and if you're fresh out of college, this is almost impossible. I mean, despite abundant claims of job openings, finding work has become harder than ever. The news will always tell you that companies today are struggling to fill positions, and yet countless people in Generation Z specifically can never seem to find a job, even if they send out dozens or even hundreds of applications without this.
Here's a very simple reason for that, I think. It's because the jobs that they are looking for are the jobs with the lowest amount of skill or critical thinking required. Because they're younger, and so they don't have as much innate skill to create something that a automated system or an AI can't reproduce themselves. And this isn't really an insult on, like, this group of people. I think that think about it in a video game, right? It's like if you're level 25, you're not going to be able to do as much DPS as level 20 or level 50, right? It's very simple. So it's much easier to replace a level 25 with a robot or, you know, something else than, let's say, you know, a higher level player. AI is changing things. Yeah, exactly. So, like, you don't have the experience, you don't have the, you know, any tenure, you don't understand the industry well, and so they're not going to hire you. And so it's basically like they're pulling the ladder up more and more, and so it's harder to even get in.
Single interview. Decades
That's
ago,
what I think's
this
happening.
was never the case. Even during job shortages, getting hired was much simpler. Advice like dressing well, filling out your CV was often just enough. Even just asking for a manager's time off
Dude,
your
Yeti
work.
shit's so expensive. Yeah, I got probably $500 worth of Yeti shit. I have a Yeti cooler. That shit was
much
expensive
harder.
as fuck.
One major shift is the rising bar for
went to
entry.
college or
Before
uni.
2000,
I went to
college
college
degree
for
almost
1 year.
guaranteed you a good job. For other generations,
So I went to college for 1 year. I did not graduate. I had my first kid. I had to leave college and go to work, and I never went back. My wife has a 4-year degree in accounting, and my daughter has a 4-year degree in accounting. And my other daughter is me, so out of high school, she just went to work. So me and her are going to have to work on some sort of entrepreneurship for her because she's going to need it to survive. But she'll get it done. But yeah, so I did. Yeah, we went to uni. I mean, I only went for a year, but they all went.
In the past, this was just a given. It was why you went to university.
This is one of the reasons, too, by the way, why.
I also was a
Sam Hyde
mechanic.
video
I didn't
was
really
so
need
popular.
university. Like the shit
It's
I did
because of this
didn't
problem
require
and the
college
way that
education.
people have observed it manifesting in individual lives of people that they know. So like they know somebody who this is affected in a
I
negative
probably should have gone to
way,
school to
or
be an
they've been
engineer
affected
because that's
by this
kind of
in a
where
negative
mechanics
way.
falls, but I didn't.
But for the first
I
time
went for
ever,
business
this isn't the
administration. I
case for
fucking hated
Generation
it.
Z. Instead of companies competing for graduates, now a degree is the bare minimum for them. Employers now focus on the top few percent of candidates, while most roles require years of experience even for entry-level jobs.
Yeah.
The internet has also transformed hiring. In the past, companies recruited through local events, word of mouth, or physical job postings, limiting competition and making hiring even more personal. Today, a single online job listing can attract thousands of applicants instantly. With no need to apply in person, people send out applications en masse, creating a numbers-driven process that favors quantity over quality. Of course. This also mirrors trends in modern dating too for Generation Z, where technology has expanded competition, turning personal connections into data-driven interactions. Both industries now set higher standards due to the illusion of endless options, leading to dehumanizing experiences for individuals, and making it that much
It sucks to probably apply to a bunch of jobs and not get any of them. The same as like I bet on a dating app, it probably sucks if like you try to like match with 100 girls and like 100 like 100 of them say no. Like yeah, I bet that does like really, it's like demoralizing. Yeah, you give up. Exactly. It does fucking suck. Yeah, see, I never had a dating app before, so like I'm not sure, but you know, yeah, for sure. And I'm 32 with 2 kids. I went to college. I fell for the lie of a better job and pay. In my instance, it was job placement figures that were a lie, let alone the lack of proper experience to be placed in a good job once I graduated. Yeah. And the thing is that there's always a survival. Like, I actually have a very...
I haven't been on Instagram a lot,
talk about
Con.
the
Sorry about that, man.
for
I didn't
Generation
see
Z,
it.
not only to create a family, but even have the
I was
money
on
to
Instagram
support.
yesterday,
And then
though,
in
and I
recent
didn't
years,
see it.
automation only made it that much harder. Application tracking systems, otherwise known as ATS, is used by nearly all major companies to filter candidates based on criteria like keywords, experience, or location. Originally designed for
Oh,
simpler
you sure the fuck
tasks,
did.
these systems now reject applicants automatically for
My bad,
failing to
my
match
guy.
specific parameters.
Yep.
Many CVs are just discarded without ever being reviewed by a human.
It's like
Dist-
don't like dating apps have like a thing where like you can filter by like height? I mean, like, they guaranteed do, right? So it's like if you're not at least like 6'1", you're not. Yeah, right. Weight. Do they?
You
have
did. My
weight?
bad, man. I didn't see it.
Can you
It got
filter by
buried under a
weight?
bunch of other messages. Oh, why'd I do that? Fuck, I just fucked up.
No, why not? Why? Body type, but yes. Height is okay, though. I love that. I love that the thing that you can't control is okay, but the thing that you can control is. Or so, the thing that you can't control is, yeah, but the thing that you can't control is not okay. It's so... See, this is the problem that I have with society.
Society's
this is
ass
why I
backwards.
always get into
That's
trouble.
why.
How does that make any sense? It doesn't. It's ridiculous. It's ass backwards. People are retarded. Yes, they are. It doesn't.
Standout, applicants must tailor their CVs to each job posting, mimicking keywords and avoiding formatting issues that could confuse ATS software. This tedious process leaves many
We're not
feeling
getting
demoralized,
fucking way.
especially
We're
when
gonna get
rejection
knocked back a
emails
bunch of
become
tears
normal,
because we're
and
not
at
getting
the same
the
time
fucking
you see on
drops
social
we
media
need.
all of these rich millionaires living it up in places like Dubai. Even
Well,
with
I mean, if you see a girl living it up in Dubai,
That's a decent ring.
anyway. So, I do think that the pervasiveness of influencer culture
You got a flipper
has
zero.
absolutely
They're fun to
caused
play with.
way more resentment. Because like now somebody can go like
There's
they
a
can
better
go and they
version
can
of it
see
now,
some
though. It's
girl
not a
on
Flipper Zero. It's
Instagram
called
or
something
on
else. I
Twitch,
can't remember
right?
what it's called.
They can see somebody and they're like, wow, this person has everything that I want, and they just sit there and talk to a camera all day. And like that, like just face value unfairness makes people so angry.
The widespread use of ATS, the hiring process remains overwhelmed. AI is making these systems that much more sophisticated, allowing companies to further automate hiring while removing human judgment. This efficiency-driven approach reduces applicants to mere data points, stripping away opportunities for personal connections. The result is a hiring landscape that feels impersonal and unfair. While job hunting has always been challenging, the rise of automation heightened competition, and unrealistic standards have made it far more dehumanizing. Before, you were given an opportunity to have an interview face-to-face to at least give the employer a good impression. This is now only merited if you're selected for an interview at all.
I remember I went to an interview and I couldn't figure out how to open the door to leave the interview room. And I drove home and I was thinking about how embarrassing that was. And then I realized that that night Miss Pandaria came out. And I was thinking then, I was like, I'm not going to have to work during the expansion.
Data is the deciding factor amongst all, and any good explanations for any shortfalls in your CV fall through the cracks and are shifted to the rejected pile. There's even systems now that only pick up on certain words which might keep your application in the run, but again the competition is fierce. Even the format of your CV can count against you if their automated system is unable to read it. Then there's the problem with advertising jobs that are just no longer active.
I think that by the way, I don't know if that's completely an AI problem. Like growing up, I don't know about you guys, but did you guys ever get like advice in like resume building and like CV building that it's like, oh, you don't want to do it like this because now hiring managers won't look at CVs that are like, written in this way? So I feel like what they're really doing is they're automating something that was stupid to begin with, right? It's like it was already stupid and now it's being automated, and the automated way is also stupid. But I feel like it's always been like this to an extent. But like now, since it's like a robot doing it, it feels a lot worse rather than it just being a person being biased. It's all bullshit. Yeah. It's like, it's basically, it's really efficient at being stupid, so it's stupid more often, so people are more mad.
Company policy, while they already have an applicant in mind, they still have to advertise. Or perhaps they filled the position but don't take the advert down.
If they can find a way to make a Flipper Zero that disables red light cameras and speed cameras for my car, I would 100% pay like fucking $3,000 for that shit. Like I hate those cameras. I got a goddamn camera ticket the other day, and I even knew the camera was there. I was exactly 1 mile and over. Well, to get a camera ticket, you gotta do 12 miles an hour over, and I did exactly 12 miles an hour over. So usually I try to run 10 miles an hour over and you don't get no tickets. But if they made up something that could block those cameras, I would 100% buy it. I mean, I've had tag flippers, shit like that, but those things are felonies if you get caught, so... Is he stuck? He looks like he's stuck. I think he was. Nope, not stuck anymore. That motherfucker was running up on me.
And if by chance you do get selected, you'll then be subjected to a questionnaire designed to gauge your submission to authority. As companies now want to hire people who will not challenge their expectations and restrictions.
That's right. You have to hire, you don't want to hire employees, you want to hire prospective slaves. That's what you want. I mean, that makes sense, right? I mean, do you want somebody who's going to question authority? No.
And if this couldn't get any worse for Generation Z, it seems like AI is looming in the distance to replace many jobs.
Well, it's also that AI is going to be replacing the jobs that young people would be taking over, because they would be the least skilled and least informed or educated decisions.
If it couldn't get any worse, Generation Z is one of
We
the
got
first
no
generations to have been
waystones.
weakened on
No
all
waystones.
fronts, bombarded
50%
with
increased
estrogenic
chance of
chemicals,
waystones, and we got
plastics,
0.
junk food, and sedentary lifestyle.
They're making the kids gay by eating them McDonald's. They're making them gay with their brain don't work. Soy boys, yeah.
Making Generation Z one of the weakest, less energetic, and more easily controlled generations in history. But luckily, there is some hope, and that would be NMN. That's nicotinamide mononucleotide, a derivative of the B vitamin niacin, which is known to dramatically improve health and longevity by serving as a precursor to
Is this what that guy took?
a compound that plays a crucial role in energy production, muscle regeneration, metabolism, and gene expression in the body. NMN works
Can't believe
by
we didn't get any
replenishing
waystones.
diminished NAD plus levels, which naturally fall at a rate of about 1% per year. A 50-year-old person, for example, has about half of the NAD plus they had in their youth. Now, rather than me try to explain it, I'm going to let the doctor that discovered it explain it, with a clip from the Joe Rogan Experience.
What is NMN? Good question. So, from deterioration and disease, they're like the Pentagon. They sense when we're hungry, sense when we're exercising, and they send out the troops to defend us. And so we think that these genes are responsible for the effects of dieting and exercise, which is great. What that means is we can now mimic that with molecules.
This thing has been dubbed the limit.
Yeah, how does this rank up to super male vitality though? That's the important
thing. 10
thing.
to 20 years off you.
Yeah,
it's
what
like
we
the
were
fountain
thinking
of
about.
youth in a bottle. But the FDA, they're trying to keep it away from us. Why? Because a healthy, strong population is harder to
not even
control.
close.
The FDA is attempting to change the status of NMN supplements to be classified as a drug, which would allow pharmaceutical companies to control it. This move is not based on the efficacy or safety of M&M, but is aimed at cornering the market and taking the
M&Ms.
supplement away from you. A weaker population is, after all, easy to control, meaning that you should get it now while you still can. Black Forest supplements can help you out with that. And since they're the sponsor of this video, we have an exclusive offer for you. If you go to our link in the
They want you to be fat,
Custom firmware, like
to have
extreme
no
and
muscles,
fucking
and to
single-
have
I mean,
erectile
I've seen a
dysfunction. And that way they
friend of
can,
mine has
control
one.
you.
I didn't buy
Which
one.
will
I
pin
have no
comments
use
then
for
the
it.
next
But a friend of
48
mine has
hours,
one, and
you
we
can
played
buy
with it
two
a
and get
bunch.
one for free. So stock up now while you can.
He did
Wages
something.
have flatlined for the past 20
He
years.
hooked it to a
Of late, the
Raspberry
average
Pi. I
hourly
don't know. He
earnings
did.
of
He built
employees in
something with his.
2024
Like he
is
built
the
something
same
weird
as that
with
of
his.
1978, and that was during a bad economic down period. And so while living prices, real estate, just your normal expenses have shot through the roof, the income you receive really hasn't changed at all. This means there's far
Not
more
really,
restrictions in place that make it that much harder to live independently. And that's why today we're seeing more and more people in Generation
My
Z
game crashed.
living with their parents for as long as they can. Not because
I'm gonna be real. I think that's good. I think the culture of moving out of your parents' house as soon as you turn 18 was toxic. And I'm glad that it seems like American culture's kind of moving away from that. The problem is that they're moving away from it for, I think, the wrong reason. But I think that the action itself is positive, if that makes sense.
they want to. In the year 2023, nearly 45% of American
good outcome,
adults
bad
who are 18
reason.
to 29 years old are living with their parents, which is the highest rate ever since the 1940s. This used to be something that was completely foreign for people living in America, and now it's
Yeah, I
just
remember growing up, you know, it was seen as weird that I lived with my mom and I didn't live on my own. Like, pretty much all of my friends, I'm trying to think about it, pretty much every single one of my friends did not live at home. Like, I guess Eric
Sorry, guys,
did,
a little 420
but that
break,
was
my
it.
back's
Like, there was like
bothering me.
one guy I knew. Other than that, everybody else moved out except me.
I moved out of my
It was
parents'
definitely a thing,
house
yeah,
at
yeah.
20.
becoming normal. In fact, in the UK, 1 in 3
20.
males and 1 in 4 females.
I had my
in the
first kid
20
at
to
21.
34 age group still
Had my
live in
second
their
kid at
parents'
24.
homes.
Yeah, of course.
The cost of food on average
And now
was
I'm
about
45,
$4,500
and both of my
per
kids
year,
are adults, and life
between
is
the years
free to do
2000 and 2010 for millennials. But Gen
Soon
Z
as
is now looking at
soon as my
22% more at
daughters
about
move out, I think we're selling our
$5,500
house
per
and we're
year
gonna
per
travel.
person. So with all these
You're gonna be
financial
watching me
problems
stream
set
from the
in
back of a
place-
That's
fucking
nuts.
RV.
Like, I remember my mom and I, we got $200 of food stamps every month, and like I remember we were balling.
$200 in food stamps every
Like,
month.
and
When
that
I
was
was
in, like,
raising my kids,
2012,
and we were
2011.
poor as fuck. We got
The
like
shit's just gone up by so much.
$550 a month.
With
in
that
food
crippling
stamps.
Generation
today.
Z,
Yeah, we're
it
not
completely
balling
limits them
anymore.
in starting a life for themselves, pushing back the time that you get married and start a
But
family
that
of
was,
your
I
own,
mean,
just
for
because
the
you're
first
still not
couple
even able
years,
to
'cause
live
I made too much
independently
money,
at this
so-
point, as it's simply not affordable.
I think that was from like
And more
21 to
That's
like
definitely
23
true,
or
is that
24.
they feel like they don't want to have kids because they can't financially support them. I think it's a huge reason. Like when I talk to like friends of
Roadman,
mine,
yeah.
especially, one of the big concerns is economic.
I just don't want to
anxiety.
pay property.
It's a huge
like,
factor.
It's such a waste of money.
Salaries
like
in one
property
household
tax
should at
and all
least
that
sustain a
shit.
couple just starting. It often doesn't because both incomes are so low and the options are so limited.
Yeah, I still can't
Added
believe
onto this, the rising rental costs that we've all seen. It's clear to almost everyone now that housing affordability has dramatically changed over the years. In the 1970s, the average cost was about $23,000 for a home, which today, taking into account inflation, would be about $150,000. But today, homes now average at about $400,000. This is almost three.
Average, I'd want to see median more than average, because you're going to have like $30 million homes that are going to be like increasing this number. I feel like this is probably a little bit not representative, but I'm sure it's high.
Bro, I saw a thing on average income, right? I saw this thing the other day, right? So they were talking about the average income of the United States. And the average household income in the United States, fuck a RV, get a boat. I have one arm, I can't swim. You ain't getting me on a boat. Ain't no fucking way. I can't swim, bro. Like, me and my wife talked about a sailboat before I had my accident. Like, when we got old, by a sailboat, just like sail. Like, I don't want to go around the world. Just sail up and down the coast of the United States, like blah, blah, blah. I can't swim, bro. I'm not getting in a boat. Ain't no fucking way. If you have a problem and you have to get in the water to fix it, like, I'm fucked. I'm going to drown. So, we'll stick to RVs. I don't like flying because I don't have wings, and now I don't like swimming because I can't fucking swim anymore. So, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, so it was the average income in the United States. So they were talking about the average medium income, and it's like $75,000, right? And I'm like, okay, yeah, I mean, that sounds right, whatever. But the lady was like, if you take away the billionaires and the people making that have an income, like basically the top 1%, you pull that out, it drops down to like something ridiculous, like 50,000. Then if you take out like the next set of rich people that are making like $500,000 to $1 million a year, you take them out of it, it goes down to $35,000 for household income. Like, that's two people working. That's crazy. I mean, I made $35,000 by myself fresh out of high school. Like, I was making 43 fresh out of high school as an electrician. It's just crazy how I didn't realize how, like, the numbers are a lie because you need to take out the big earners because they take it up so much. When you have, like, when you're trying to get the average income around, you know, most people make under 100 grand. So if you look at people under 100 grand, so like the billionaires bring it up really high. They pad the stats for the government, and it's fucking stupid. Like, if you look at it, it's bad, bro. People are broke as fuck. And they wonder why they fucking voted for Trump, man. Because fucking people need change. People are drowning right now. All right, we need to do another one. We got no runes again. We're getting knocked back a tier every time we don't get runes. We gotta fucking juice this up a little bit. I'm not gonna do any more. We're just wasting fucking currency. Oh, yeah, that shit's crazy. The wildfires are fucking insane. Who the fuck would want to... why anybody wants to live in California is beyond me. I honestly think your cost of living, Jake, is higher than ours. Australia, they're... I'm trying to remember what it was. Electricity? Something in Australia. First off, everything's overpriced. Like, if you try to buy a graphics card there, it costs like fucking 30% more than anywhere else. But your cost of living's really high. Like, I think your cost of living's higher than the United States. It's fucked. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. Whoa, that's weird. It came up on that... So I have two YouTube chats on my screen, right? One is the pop-out, and the other is just built into Stream Deck. And it didn't post your comment on the Stream Deck one for some reason. It's weird. Here you can just bribe people.
Yeah, Andrew Tate had a good quote about that shit. I don't remember the exact quote, so I'm not like quoting him, but roughly what he said was, he was talking about the United States. He was like, why would I want to live in a country like the United States where only millionaires can bribe people and billionaires can bribe people, when I can live in Romania and I can bribe somebody for $15? And he's like, speeding, $15. Just bribe them, they don't write you a ticket. And he's like, why would I want to live in America? I can't do that here. And he's fucking right. Like, why would you want to live somewhere where only the rich can access the corruption? If you're going to live somewhere that's corrupt anyway, wouldn't you want to live somewhere where you can access the corruption too? Like, it just makes sense. God, why does he keep spinning around? Oh, my guy. I keep trying to look over a chat and my fucking mouse cursor gets all out of whack. I end up shooting in the wrong direction. Fucking tree blocked half of those grenades. Alright, I don't know why we don't have a third grenade. I'm about to switch some shit around after this. I don't think Blind Shot needs that extra grenade.
Three times as much. This is why baby boomers had almost no problems buying a house.
And keep in mind, $420,000 for perspective and context. I grew up in a working class neighborhood. The house across the street from me and like one over, it was on sale. My two friends looked it up because they're like, oh, maybe we should move in next to you. It's like, okay, well, how much is it? $455,000.
Same thing happened to my old neighborhood. I lived in a pretty poor neighborhood growing up.
It was a working class neighborhood.
Like $150,000 houses. Those same houses are $350,000
was so
now.
poor growing up that she would have to walk to and from the bus stop. She didn't even have her own car. Now it's almost $500,000 to buy that house.
Few years of having a job, they would easily be able to afford a home. It was extremely affordable to what they earned, living costs were reasonable, and homes were not really in demand, making it a perfect market. They also had the exposure of a simpler time. They would help their parents fix their homes and get a better understanding of maintenance. And then by owning up all these homes, their net worth has exploded in recent years at the same time. But of course for people today, it's the exact opposite situation. Now the general rule of thumb has always been that you could eventually afford a house if the monthly payments were 30% of your monthly income. However, today this isn't really that possible. Most end up with 50%, leaving little money left to even survive.
I mean, like a rent payment. How much is your rent payment? Like, I feel like most people's rent payment's probably like 2.5, 3.5, somewhere around there, right?
That's crazy.
So, like, if it's 30%, like, let's say it's 2.5. So
that
it's
means
30%.
You need to make $7,500 a month.
So it'd be a little bit more than like 7,500 to like 8,000, right?
Crazy.
In between that range. 8,000 times 12 is what's that? 96,000. And so you've got to be at six figures there for it to be 30% of your income, and that's for a cheap ass fucking house.
House also
and
comes
that's
with
after taxes. True, real. That's take home. Yeah.
Oh
exactly.
shit! I don't think I fought him before.
That's the numbers.
insurance on the house and the responsibility of fixing anything that needs fixing, along with.
But hey, boys, hey guys, keep in mind it's TikTok. It's the Chinese government. They're the ones that are the problem. The Chinese, they're the ones that make us hate America. That's what we need to fix. We get rid of TikTok, all this stuff's gonna go away.
Bunch of taxes added on, and as the population exploded, so too did the demand for houses, making this a seller's market, eliminating most normal people's options of buying a home until they're at least 50 years old, leaving them paying rental costs for someone else or never having anything to show for it. Landlords.
To be fair, there is, like, if you want to get into the economics of it, there are economic outcomes
all right,
that
tier 12.
result in
There we go.
renting being a more financially efficient option than owning a home. That is true, but the people that have that level of financial literacy probably don't have this issue to begin with. Like, just education. Like, they just don't.
Where they can put up the price, and with so many potential
She just
occupants,
wanted
they
to
don't
pop
need to
up
keep
and let you
rental
know I'm
costs
still
low.
alive. I know
Even
you're still
renting
alive,
now
bud.
comes with a list of add-on fees that
I
most
have
Gen
faith
Z
in you
just
staying
don't take
alive.
into account, leading to people sharing homes in an attempt to afford them, but still
I
not
have
making
faith
ends
in
meet.
you, bud.
And it's hardly a surprise.
Are you
the
done
average
school
rent
yet,
in
Con?
places like New York alone is $4,000 a month.
You've been in my chat
and
for like
that's
almost
without the
3
bills and
years
water
now, so I don't even
costs.
remember if you're still in school. I
think
know you were in
Rich was
school
telling
last
me,
year.
Back whenever, like, we were doing the shit back in the day, like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, he told me that, like, his rent at his apartment in New York City was like $15K or something like that. Like, it's insane. The amount of money, like, that's nuts. I wonder how much it is now.
Meaning that a salary of $100,000 in some cases isn't even enough to be sustainable.
No, it's not.
Now, as
You see the
unreasonable as that
math.
sounds, it's a harsh new reality for many people in high-cost-of-living cities in the U.S.
Because here's the thing, too, is that, like, growing up, like, making six figures, like, that was the benchmark, right? Like, that was the, oh, shit, now I'm in the big leagues. Like, I know growing up, that was a big deal. Right? Yeah, exactly. Like, you're rich now. Like, girl, I'm not rich, but, like, you're up there.
Us. And for the most part, Generation Z are feeling the brunt of this, starting at the bottom of the ladder with the most debt and the least amount of possibility to get paid so much. And with inflation on top of this, it almost feels like to be in Gen Z and build any real wealth, it's just a never-ending battle not to go into debt. In the last 2 years alone, inflation has severely reduced purchasing power. We have 86% less power compared to baby boomers. To pay for basic needs like groceries, gas, and utility bills, most have to choose often between saving more or discretionary spending. And while GDP figures and economic policies may show that the economy is improving, almost nobody.
So, this number
Economy's not improving.
Goes up because the amount of people per capita, it's going up because all of the rich people, like all of these gains, like what do you think this was you think the bottom 20% of the population was part of this line? This is a Bernie Sanders moment. This is Elon. Look at Elon and Zuckerberg's net worth. Yeah, exactly. Look at that. The rich got richer, and it's not even remotely close. And you can see, by the way, look at where things really started going crazy. It's after the recession recovery. How did all this money go up during COVID while everybody else's standard of living went down? COVID depressed everybody's standard of living. Meanwhile, this line is going up like crazy. How does that happen?
Feeling it. Things like quantitative easing, GDP growth is mostly enjoyed by the older generations with wealth that's invested in the stock market or real estate. But if it's so much harder to get to the job,
this is the problem, right? Is that sorry, I'm pausing a lot. I apologize. Is that if you have money, it's so easy to make money. Like,
that's not necessarily true.
If you
have
like
a lot
of money
okay.
invested,
If you have a lot of money, you
just snowball. You straight up just snowball. You just keep making more and more and more and more money. And there's like all these like little things. Like for example, like obviously I have a lot of money invested, and so like a lot of services that people would have to pay for, I don't have to pay for. And other things like
That's
all
true.
bank fees.
I
and,
don't
like,
pay
bank
any.
stuff, I don't have to pay for any of that.
He's not lying about that. So once you have a lot of banks in the United States, once you have more than 200 grand in the bank, you no longer pay fees. You don't have to pay for your monthly bank fee, whatever that is. Usually it's like checking accounts are like $10. Some are free. You don't have to pay overdraft fees, but you never overdraft, so that doesn't matter. You don't have to pay ATM fees. They waive the ATM fees. There's no fees. Like if you need checks, you don't have to pay for checks. They'll just send them to you. Like pretty much your banking becomes completely free. And he's not wrong about that. I experienced that right after I got my settlement.
And so a big issue is that it's expensive to be poor, and it's in a lot of ways the worst part is that it's cheap to be rich. And so you have a lot of extra money that you just don't have to spend because you don't have other things. And this cascades down into the conversation about like how sales tax is a regressive tax, and then also about how like at a very basic level, you want to buy a box of Nutri-Grain bars, let's say. It's $1.50 at the gas station for one. It's $7 at the store for 10, and it's $15 at Costco for 40. But you don't have the $15, so you have to buy it at the gas station or the grocery store, so you can't afford to buy in bulk and optimize your money. Yeah, like this is like spot on. That's a terrible analogy. No, but
he's not wrong. That's not a terrible analogy because we do all of our shopping in bulk, and it saves a ton of money.
You go to the gas. I bought a Nutri-Grain bar at the gas station yesterday. I know this.
Yeah, he's not wrong about that. You always buy in bulk. If you're not shopping in bulk, you're fucking up.
Along with huge student debt, it's no surprise that debt levels
I buy coffee in bulk. I buy fucking paper towel. I buy everything in bulk.
Between 2021 and 2023,
we even buy meat and shit in bulk. I have a meat freezer in the basement.
Experienced a staggering 179% increase in the overall debt burden. This is the largest surge in all generation cohorts during that period.
Saves a ton of fucking money being able to freeze a lot of meat at a time.
Wow.
Debt is attributed to student loans. As of 2022, 36% of older Generation Z people held student loan debt, with an average balance of $20,000. In comparison, older millennials and those of the same age in 2006 had a lower incidence of student debt and a lower average balance, indicating that Generation Z
I think you need to adjust that for inflation, though.
Earlier in their life, which is really
It's also that like every single year, I think that the barrier to entry for getting a good job and good employment is going to go up. Like it's going to be harder to get a good job every single year because you're going to have automation and technology that's eating into those jobs that have less critical thinking and
hold on, I'm about to read your
more
shit.
automated behavior.
Oh, yeah, I'm working trying to get international cybersecurity certificate. Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's good shit.
All these factors mentioned.
Stay away from coding. Stay away from software engineering. Those jobs are about to get replaced. Cybersecurity won't. AI is about to replace coding and software
huge
engineering.
Increase from the 61% of millennials at the same age a decade prior, and this comes with higher interest rates on these.
So you remember? Let's go back to 2017, right? That was the first Trump election. During that election, they were talking about how they were going to shut down coal mines. And what was the tag they used to say? Learn how to code. That's what they told the coal miners. They said, hey, learn how to code. Like, you know, you're not going to be a coal miner. Learn how to code. Guess what? Fucking 6 years later, or I guess we're 8 years later. 8 years later, coding is irrelevant. Better go learn how to coal mine. Because fucking AI can do that shit way better than people can do. Like, it's not all the way there yet, but it is fucking close. Like, software engineers are going to be fucked.
You know what I think this is? You know whose fault I think this is? I think this is the school's fault. I've seen interviews with people explaining what interest is and, like, explaining what percentages are. And I swear to God, bro, I bet these bitch can't even read a clock. Like, you don't even know you can't even count to 15. Of course they're getting hoodwinked by this. You go to Macy's, they're going to give you a card that you can buy things for $1,000. Oh my God, I have $1,000. It's terrible. Yeah, don't blame the parents at all. Well, this is not I mean, nobody has a monopoly on this, right? I mean, it's a group effort. You know, they say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a village to enslave one too. And that's what's happened. And so, no, I don't think it's not like anybody is like uniquely responsible, but I do think that there's a lot of factors, and I think the school is a big factor. 30% interest, yeah, but people don't understand 30%.
Damn, all the monsters are
like so 30. Here's a great example. 30%. Okay, month 2. How much is it? 160%? No, it's not. It's 130 times 100 times another 30%. So it's 136%.
All right, Con. I'll check you later, man. Stay safe.
Or something like that, right? I don't know what the math is exactly. Yeah, so like and people don't understand how things compound. They don't get any of it. 139, something like that. Yeah, 169. Yeah, there you go. And so it's more.
Debts, suggesting that many in Generation Z are very much struggling to manage their debt obligations effectively. So with all
like,
this...
if you were to ask, like, how many of you guys know someone between the ages of, like, let's say 15 to 20?
If I can get
Does
movement
that
speed
person
on
know
this,
what compounding interest
man,
is
that would be
on a
good.
fundamental level? Do they know? Uh-oh.
Let's see what we can
When
get.
people say generation are just more lazy than other previous generations,
Dark Ray
there's a lot
Vectors
more to
Brace
this than it
Sabatons.
seems.
I wonder if
It's
these
not
are
laziness
good.
to have a coffee and an iPhone, or to not care about your job if you
I don't get
can't even
frenzy
afford to
charges,
survive.
so probably
This isn't to do
not.
with laziness and apathy, but more so the fact that there's no reason to care anymore. It's why employee confidence, morale, and birth rates are declining across the globe. And amongst
I
everyone...
think that also this is going to be a meta level.
Okay, that's actually
think that you
decent.
have
If we get
lost,
physical
a
damage here, we can
spiritual
use this.
connection.
And we
I
did.
think
Critical hit
religion used
chance,
to be
accuracy rating.
You know, I
That's
hate
junk.
to say it. I agree with Karl Marx. It was an opiate for the people.
These boots
I
will be
think that
good
a
if I
lot
can
of
get more
people
fire
got
resistance
a lot
to
of
show
value
them.
out of it. And
I don't think I
whether
can
you
use the
think
essence
that they
'cause it's
should or
not-
not is irrelevant.
Yeah,
I think
don't
that they
have
did.
it. Fuck.
And so you have that like people are no longer religious. They don't have communities
Oh,
anymore.
we got 10%
There are
movement
no
speed.
third
Okay, that's
spaces
something.
that people are a part of other
That's
than
something. We
obviously,
just need
work and you know, their house. And you have that happen. And big surprise, you know, you have this cultural nihilism. It's inevitable. that this was gonna
89. We're not
happen.
going to get that increased armor and evasion. Fuck. That's a lot.
Gen Z stands out with the lowest levels of worker engagement.
Mm-hmm.
Only 44% report job satisfaction compared to 67%
I don't think I'm
of
gonna
auto
waste it.
workers. Driving these
I don't
trends
think
you
they're
hear
gonna
about in
work
the
out.
news like quiet quitting and
Never
bare minimum
mind, we're gonna
Mondays.
skip. Let's
But
go.
this is more just a symptom of a much wider problem of broader societal discontent and stagnation. And as this happens, so too
I gotta be
the
careful
fertility rates
wasting
dropping.
currency. We've
The
wasted a
US
lot of
recently reached a
currency.
historic low of 1.62
Like, getting gear in
births
this game
per
is
woman,
extremely
far below
difficult.
the 2.1 needed to sustain
getting gear
a
that
stable
actually works with your
population.
build.
And understanding these
Yeah.
two interconnected trends reveals a much bigger generational and economic shift. The same sort of boring, soulless corporate work no longer connects with Generation Z, especially when they can't even afford to live properly, causing 60%
I think people
of
would be glad to sit in this cubicle if they were getting paid $200,000 a year. That's the problem, is that people are not being paid an amount of money that they feel like is worth investing their life into doing this thing. So, like, that's the reason. It's all about the money.
It is all about the money. You do
Like,
anything
there's a
with
reason,
enough
like,
money,
those
man.
guys that
People
work
will
out
do
in the
anything
oil
for
rig,
enough.
they're getting paid a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
And that's why, and it's risky.
They're
it's
making
brutal,
$200,000
right? But they're
a year
getting
easily.
paid crazy money.
US bosses to report terminating Generation Z employees for valuing flexible schedules and higher pay. It's
Because
the
of
same thing
trans
all
people?
around the West. Younger
Yeah,
workers in the UK
for
also
sure.
feel so disengaged, with over
So
40% under 25 considering leaving their jobs due to burnout and a lack of career progression, which aligns perfectly with the broader cultural shift away from traditional life milestones, including starting families and having children. And how can society expect Generation Z to be having large, happy families when the cost of raising a child is approximately $300,000 by age 17? And that's excluding college and inflation driving this figure
Jesus.
higher. In the UK, childcare consumes over 20% of household income, making parenthood increasingly unattainable and only for the rich.
I wonder what we
However
can use
dystopian
on
that may
Wind
seem,
Dancer.
high student debt, stagnant wages, and unaffordable housing all compounds to this challenge, not only discouraging job satisfaction but also having a family. It's why only back in 2003, 83% of people expressed a desire to become parents. But today, that number
Supported
has now
skills
dropped
have
down
100%
to
chance to blind
51%.
enemies on hit.
That's crazy. That's like more than a 50% drop. Percentage-wise, that's nuts. Or almost 50%. Oh my god.
Blinds enemies when they
OnlyFans?
hit you.
No, I don't think OnlyFans is the reason for this.
All of this is compounded
Yeah,
to
I don't
something
think
much
so.
greater than just Generation Z. This isn't just about
I
Generation
don't think we have
Z
enough
being
spirit to
lazy,
use
whatever
any
that
other shit.
means. The economic impact of all of this is going to be significant. Fewer young people entering the workforce exacerbates labor shortages, already visible in aging societies like Japan, where nearly 30% of the population is over 65. This imbalance increases financial pressures on workers, inflates
color
taxes,
strike.
and reduces benefits, further destabilizing economies. businesses then face shrinking consumer bases and rising costs, slowing growth and threatening long-term stability. Efforts to reverse these declines, including family incentives and generous parental leave policies in nations like
the reason why you can't pay people to have more kids is they think that giving somebody $1,000 to have a kid is going to offset the $300,000 cost, not to mention the other the $300,000 is not the real cost, right? That's the cost that's on paper. You also have the opportunity cost.
Actually, hold on.
So a lot of times it's harder to advance in your career if you have kids. And this is especially true, I bet, if you're a woman. And so, like, because if you're having, like, let's say you have 4 kids, well, that's going to be like 2.5 years, maybe 2 years, maybe a little bit less, depending, right, on where you live, that you're out of commission, you're not working. So how are you going to be able to compete with people and maintain your position in the job market when you have to take that much time off? That's just it. Yeah, so, like, there's a huge other component to it as well. You lose on salary, work progression, and pension? Yeah. Not even true. This is wrong. You really think that having to leave work to have kids isn't going to affect a woman's probability of getting hired and advancing her career? If that's not true, then why are there so many lawsuits about it?
France, Japan, and Taiwan have seen limited success.
Yeah, he's not
Cultural
wrong
and
about
systemic
that.
barriers persist, emphasizing that financial
definitely
support
true.
alone can't resolve these issues.
Yeah.
Fuck,
And Generation
man.
Z
It's not enough money.
emphasis
Trying to
on
work my way to a
work-life
ball.
No,
balance
it's because
dude.
it's not enough money. They're trying to give you... It's like... They're giving you, like, nothing to get rid of it. It's like it's like 5% of what you need.
and flexibility has to be incorporated into policies and workplace strategies to foster
What is
greater
that? I don't even
engagement
know what
and
that-
address underlying challenges.
Unique
And
map.
I think also the reason why people are upset about what I said is that there's been like there's a trend now where like everybody thinks that like because women like there's like was a gender pay gap and all this stuff. I think that men and women have a lot of advantages in life, but the issue is that I think people are so like they like just react negatively to hearing that, so they'll just immediately go and be like, no, they're lying, like that's not true, that's not how it is. But there are legitimate things that women do have a harder time with. Same with men. They do exist.
Generation Z are not making it on their own. How could they ever afford to support a family? It's hard enough without even having kids, which is a terrible tragedy. To support a home for a family, with our current home-to-income ratio being around 6 to 8 years, sometimes even 14 in other Western countries. But for baby boomers back in 1988, this ratio was only 4 years, and historically US home prices were around 5 times the yearly income. Today, the ratio has exceeded even the 2008 housing bubble, which is even worse in the UK, where home-to-income ratios have been over 7 for a decade and recently just hit 9. The situation is spiraling out of control. So then how will this affect our future? Could this really be the start of a population collapse? Well, you see,
It is, and it's inevitable, and that's what it's designed to do. This is working as intended. The population collapse will be a intended consequence of the amount of automation and technology that will replace the people that don't have access to the means of production. This is working as intended.
here's what the US looked like in 2023. Instead of a large population of kids waiting to replace the adults as they get older, the opposite is now true. Even though child mortality has fallen drastically, 50 years of falling birth rates have done their damage, and there's now far more middle-aged and elderly people than children. So what's this chart going to look like in another 20 years? While we can pretty accurately predict the shape of that chart, the reality we're all going to be living in will be a lot more shocking. Aging populations and population decline present a massive problem for societies, but we don't need to imagine what these problems will be, as we can already see it today. It's now predicted that over 20 developed nations will see their populations halve before 2100. The overall historical effects of this will be the same as with the plague. Sure, our grandchildren or even our great-grandchildren can enjoy the benefits, but for us, we're going to have to deal with the immediate fallout of demographic collapse. It means we'll likely see governments try to squeeze all the work they can out of their people to deal with
how'd that go
scarcity.
for him? Not so good,
Corporations
huh?
and governments will push for Korean-style working conditions and hours if they think they can get away with it. 18-hour work days all day every week. And it's something everyone's going to have to fight back against if we want to prevent this. Now, every generation has undoubtedly gone through hardships far worse than what we see today. Men being conscripted to fight in the trenches for years, never-ending wars, never moving anywhere. Plagues, rations, Great Depressions
purple shit
would make
hurts on
anyone
the
at the
ground.
Yeah,
bus
see, like they would kill people. Like that was another way that you would get rid of the poor, dumb people back in the day, is you just have them kill each other. And like now we're not really doing that as much, and so like there's not any more culling, and so this is what the new solution is.
Offer any of our struggles today, but no issue recently has been so
Why not?
existential to the progression of humanity as this.
Too extreme.
That's why no matter what, you'll see those in the top of governments and corporations frantically worrying about the coming population collapse.
Yeah.
People are below the replacement rate in all 50 states of the U.S.
You're
Even
right.
Mormon, Utah, the average woman has less than 2 kids. Iran
Yeah.
is below that. Italy, way below it. South Korea.
Japan's in
yeah, but
total
it's
turmoil.
all these it's all these very different types of societies.
And yet to truly address this, we have to look at the root causes, most of which is coming from these exact issues, making Generation Z that much poorer today relative to any other time in modern history.
Yeah, it's just going to keep getting worse. Like, I think it's going to keep getting worse. I'm going to explain why. People not going to like this, but we're going to get it. So, let's go ahead. We're going to open this up, and we're going to see what's going on with this graph. So, basically, what we have right here is a standard bell curve graph, right? This is a bell curve graph. We all know what it is. So, we have on here, this is IQ, all right? So what's happening is that nowadays, every single year, these right here are the jobs that are getting eaten up by AI. They're getting eaten up by automation and AI.
Fucking
and every
so annoying,
year,
man.
that
So
gets
fucking
a
annoying.
little bit bigger. Just a little
It's
bit
you
more.
lose so much XP. We lost like 3
bit,
maps
right?
worth of XP.
And so what ends
Like,
up
you
happening
get penalized
here,
when you
not
die.
Really, no,
Like,
of course it is.
pretty harshly.
So basically, people that are stupid are bad at critical thinking. And if you're bad at critical thinking, then you can probably have your job replaced by a robot. Just how it is. And so if you have people that can't figure things out
Just
on their
losing my
own,
waste
they
zones,
can't
man.
think dynamically. This is, by the way, you can change this a little bit, but you can't change this as much as you think you can. And so that's wrong. No, I'm telling you, you think it's wrong. You think it is. No, you want it to be wrong. This is a fucking fact. And so this is what's going to happen. So you're having dumb people now that can't get a fucking job because all the dumb people jobs are replaced with robots. You used to turn a bolt on a fucking assembly line and you could have an IQ of a gorilla and you'd still own a motherfucking boat. But nowadays, you can't get a job because nobody needs any bolts turned because they have a robot to turn the bolt themselves. And so that's it. And so what's going to happen is every single year,
pisses me off.
this
I hate that
line
shit.
is going to get bigger. Every year, there's going to be more and more jobs because, like, at the beginning here, these were the simple, easy, dumb jobs, right? But now you're getting into the technical jobs. Now you're getting into it even more. And so what's going to happen, even smart people could be replaced? Well, eventually it'll happen to everybody. But it's a matter of degree, frequency, and priority. So right now, this is what's happening. And it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. And what's going to happen is you're going to have a form of population control through economic suppression. So you're going to have people like, how do you get rid of, because like, here's the question, how do you get rid of a bunch of dumb,
Shit pisses
stupid,
me
poor
off.
people? Well, it's easy. You make it to where they can't afford kids. And so you don't really, you're not stopping the problem immediately, but you're preventing it from happening a lot in the future. War? Yeah, maybe a war too. But I think that people are opting to effectively do it to themselves. And so that's what I think is going to happen the most. True, release the plague. It was interesting with COVID. I thought that's what was going to happen, but probably not. And so this is where I think things are happening. And let's see, I'll read a few of these. I know that people think that I'm a crazy person for saying this shit, but to be honest with you, I think that anybody who can't see it this way is crazy. I think that it's so fucking obvious this is happening, and it's happening every single fucking day. Every single fucking day it's happening, and it's getting worse like just every year. It's blatantly obvious, yes. And so now I might be extreme. I might be a little extreme on this, but that's what I think. It's happening globally.
That purple
it is.
shit,
It is
man,
happening
takes
globally.
so much fucking
and
damage.
so not really many poor
I don't
people
like
have
it.
kids, at least in my country, to receive social programs. Well, they just fix the social programs and they stop doing that, right? And that's what it's going to be, because you do want an underclass of people. That's always what's going to happen. It's just that the underclass becomes less necessary as time goes on. So, yeah, why do you think we're evolving technology to not do work? Exactly. People set fire to the streets at this rate? No, they won't. They'll set fire to themselves. They just set themselves on fire. That's what happens now. People are, and the problem is that this is another issue, is that a lot of people are just dumb as fuck, right? And so because they're really stupid, it's easy to take advantage of them. So here's a great example. This is the real problem. Automation, technology, unfettered corporate profits, the GDP gains and recoveries from recessions being enjoyed by over 95% of them being enjoyed by the top 1% of the population. All of these things are the real problems, but they have you thinking about TikTok. You're thinking about TikTok and trans people instead of thinking about these other things. That's the reason why. People are fixated on, oh, TikTok is the reason why I can't afford a house. No, it's not. It never was. That's it. And so this is the border. Well, I mean, to be fair, illegal immigration is not a good thing, right? I'm not a fan of illegal immigration. But at the same time, you got to look at what the fucking facts are. And so the blame game, yeah, exactly. Cyberpunk was a documentary, maybe. And everything being so horrible, yet we're comfortable to sit enough inside it without action. Exactly. And you see this happening with guys a lot, too. There's a lot of guys that, they have opted to just basically play video games and do nothing for the rest of their lives. And that's just how, that's how it's always been. And I think that's how it's always going to be, too.
Why is my shield not coming back?
And I think it's going to keep getting worse because, like, back in the day, these guys could maybe get a job, doing something that's physical. Because in my opinion, right, I think that the human body is made to move. And if you're not being physical for at least 2 hours a day, you are not living up to your biology. Now, there's a lot of people, including myself, that are not physical for at least 2 hours a day. But I think that when in the times that I am, I feel better, I function better, and I am better. That's it. And so losers, 2 hours is pretty low. Yeah, at least 2, right? I'm talking like usually like 6 hours. Like whenever I've felt the best physically have been times where I was being physical for at least 3 to 5 hours a day. Like moving around, doing stuff, moving stuff around, like being physical. And so that's really it. It's like 6 hours, outside of work.
Come on,
well,
fucking Frozen.
This is the thing, right? Is so a lot of times people would do that through work. It's like that's why if you go look at a video of New York City and it's the year 1913, there's not a lot of hogs walking around. You know where you see the hogs back then? In the motherfucking circus. You know why? Because they're exercising. That's it. That's the reason why. Yeah, have you seen the Dreamwalker trailer? Yeah, I'm gonna get to that, guys. I'm gonna get to that. I haven't gotten around to it yet, but I will. Don't worry about it. When you try to have you look right, you really should look left. Yeah, for sure. You don't realize we literally walked animals to death in ancient times? Yeah, exactly. And people could like outrun
move.
And that's what it was. Like, so a human, like we can get outrun by most animals. Like we can outrun a cat, or a cat can outrun a human. Buffalo probably can outrun a human. Horse obviously can outrun a human. A cheetah can outrun a human, but not forever. And you can see some of these fucking guys. Like, if you look at these documentaries of these guys in Africa, these dudes are running and being physical for 12 fucking hours a day. 15 hours a day. Yeah, the cheetah, the buffalo can outrun the African guy for 3 hours. 5 hours. But man, he just keeps going. My point is that people are designed to be physical, and they are designed to be as physical as possible, right? Like that's the pinnacle, that's the pinnacle condition of like the human excellence in terms of like biology, right? And so yeah, we're endurance animals, exactly, for long periods of times. Yeah, there you go. Ancient humans could run pretty much endlessly. Maybe not endlessly, but like pretty close to it. Yeah, they're really like absolutely. And so anyway, yeah, I think this is a good video. I also think that there's a lot of Gen Z people that make a lot of money too. And I think that also it's again about that disparity. Like if you're smart with the internet and you're good at kind of like figuring out systems and, doing shit like that, you can absolutely make a lot of money. but that's something that's, again, reserved for, and this is the problem, it's reserved for this top end of people.
We're watching a video on amputee on why
see what I'm
Gen
saying?
Z is so poor.
Like, these are the people that are smart that can take advantage of it. Yeah, a lot of finance bros. Yeah, exactly. Just be smart. No, but, like, it's actually that simple, though, isn't it? Yeah, the ones that figured it out. Yeah, because, like, that was the thing, is that reserved for the elite? I mean, in a way, yeah, kind of, right? And I'm still there, but I'm still a NEET. Yeah, that's whatever, right? You need to be really smart or really fit. Well, that's if you're a girl or a guy, right? I mean, like, you know, you don't see a lot of ugly girls doing OnlyFans, right? I mean, there's a reason for that. And so that's how it is. Check the comments. Yeah, I'll read some of the comments about this too. Labor isn't cheap enough. We need women to work to make it cheaper. Labor isn't cheap enough. We need AI to make it cheaper. Why is every successive generation poorer than the boomers? The future is a cyberpunk dystopia with all the neat cyberpunk stuff. Well, I'm sure we'll get some of it, right? I remember a great internet comment saying that being born Gen Z was like starting a Monopoly game 20 turns after or later than everybody. Yeah, but if you come in there with a bunch of 500s in your pocket, you're still going to win. That's the thing. You always got to, like... You know, like, I have like, my, you know, the ABs. I'll do whatever you can to get ahead. Because if you're not, other people will. I'll be right back. I gotta use the bathroom. The biggest problem is the inflation on housing. I feel like there's a lot of reasons why shit like that happens. It's not like one specific thing. It's probably like 10 things that come together to make it happen. That's my outlook on it more than anything. I feel like people here are acting stupid. Everybody got opinions about different shit, right? But, like, in general, I think this is what's going to happen, is that more and more young people are going to have more trouble finding jobs. And I think it's going to happen to older people as well, too. It's just going to happen to everybody. But, you know, it's going to take time for people to realize it. You see a lot of dumb millionaires? No, you don't.
Yeah, you do.
You see a lot of people that...
You don't have to
do
be
not
smart.
Have conventional intelligence.
Yeah, okay, that might be it. You don't have to be smart
there are a lot of
to be a
types of
millionaire.
intelligence,
You just have to do the
and
thing.
all you have to
like
do
most
is be
people will think of
exceptional in
ideas
one
and never
type of
do
thing,
them.
and
Like
then you can succeed.
You just have to do it.
You don't have to
like,
know.
and you have to do it a couple times.
You know,
eventually
the
it sticks.
Square
like, you
root
don't have to be
of
smart.
195. It doesn't matter. What matters is how
It's
you
like
can implement
perseverance.
knowledge and use it as a tool. You see what I'm saying? Almost 14. Well, here's what the point is, right? Rich dumbasses are the ones that lose their riches. Yeah, and there's also a lot of people that are like that, end up losing all their fucking money. And so I wouldn't really be too opinionated about that either. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, here's a good one. This could be you know, a young person making some money. And so PhDs don't earn that much for being the smartest people. Yeah, intelligence,
Education and intelligence don't go hand in
smart
hand.
Doesn't fucking mean anything. Like, you can be smart, but if you can't take that
I know a lot of
intelligence
dumb
and turn
fucking
it
people
into
with
something
college
that's
degrees.
valuable, then it's not worth a fucking thing. It doesn't matter. So, like, people that make money and, like, they're really good at something, it's not like the only thing that you can be smart at is, like, you know, learning things in school. There's like social
either. I like to be
intelligence,
entertained. That's
musical
true too.
intelligence, physical intelligence.
They tend to be the most entertaining.
You know, like, I feel like that's just other examples I can give to right now. Yeah, emotional intelligence, exactly. Yes, smart doesn't equal wealth. No, it doesn't. I mean, there's a correlation. There's definitely a correlation, but there's a lot of different types of intelligence. That's the point that I'm making. I have antisocial intelligence, physical intelligence, LMFAO. Yeah, tell it to somebody who won the Olympics. It sounds stupid until you think about it. There are people that if they exercise, what they will get out of it will be more than what you get out of it because of just like the way their body is. It's the same as anything, right? Like, you know, some people lose their hair more than others. Some people are more you know, physically active than others. It's genetics, man. That's just how it is. I remember growing up, I would never understand why, like, I would eat worse than all my friends, and I would never have any side effects. Nothing would happen. Like, I could live like a fucking animal. I could do anything I wanted. I could eat anything I want. I would never get sick. I'd never have anything go wrong with me. I was skinny my whole life. And I was also thin. Well, actually, it's the same thing, right? But I was also healthy. And so, except losing your teeth, yeah, my teeth fell out, right? For sure. What I'm saying is, like, for a lot of my other friends, they 4 teeth though. Yeah, for sure. But like, a lot of that's also a lack of preventative maintenance, and because they didn't have money to pay for it, etc. Right? I don't know. What's the name of this? Oh, that's right. Yeah, they should rename Pepsi to genetics, so I can blame my teeth falling out to genetics and actually be right. Anyway, let's go look at some more of them. Men are slowly giving up and nobody cares? That's not true. I gave up super fast. As soon as I realized I needed to have a job, I gave up. Yeah, 7 years old, I was like, I'm just not gonna make it, guys, sorry.
Increasingly, more and more men are giving up. Giving up on relationships, careers, and society as a whole. Resentment is growing.
This is why my stream is getting popular, by the way.
Unemployment is becoming rampant.
Yeah.
And keeping your head above water seems almost impossible for many men today.
Yeah.
This is leading to more men than ever dropping out of society entirely. And it's not just that. Men are becoming infantilized, with terms like adulting now becoming normal.
3 stages of adulting for men.
It's clear that something ugly is happening that needs to be addressed. We live in such a strained, unnatural environment that is bound to start to wear on society. But men in particular are battling to keep up and are slowly giving up. Giving up on dreams, giving up on trying, and giving up on doing anything constructive. And for a large part, it's really not their fault, as this trend isn't just a personal struggle, but a societal issue that we must urgently address. So why is this happening? And why has it gotten so bad in 2024?
It's gonna keep getting worse, by the way. And here's another reason why it's getting worse, is that in like 1950, if you were a dumb guy, you could be like, all right, well, I don't really know what state I live in or how to spell my name, but I can put a bolt in a car and I own a house. That's a big fucking difference.
On the surface,
That's a huge
it's a long and
difference.
complicated story. Life has never been simple for any human, and objectively speaking, for men in the West today, it's never been better. We have all the technology we need, food delivered to your door with the tap of a finger, dating readily available to anyone with a simple swipe. Any products, items...
Well, it's not really readily available, right? I mean, because like if you're an ugly guy, you've got a really hard... it's hard for you to be able to meet anybody. I mean, I feel like that's definitely a factor. 100% a factor.
Or experiences that you want can be had with the tap of your phone. But over time, all of these comforts of life destroys the importance and necessity of struggle. Without any value placed on higher goals, where there just is no reason to care, means there's no reason...
Well, the reason why a lot of guys, I think, don't care is because they don't see a path to happiness and a path to success. Like, there's no longer the idea that you can work hard and you can be guaranteed success. And I think that that's really where people, like, you lose a lot of people. That's a massive factor.
For people to properly live or have the will to achieve great...
I think also, like, as a guy, it's probably, like, very demoralizing when you see opportunities for, like, I think it's ridiculous. Like, there's a lot of opportunities that are made, like, explicitly for women. And if you're a man, you just don't have access to that opportunity. There's very few things that are in that opposite direction. And I think that it's also more socially acceptable to be hostile and negative towards men. Because, like, men, and this is undeniable, that if you go back 50 years, men had a tremendous advantage in culture, right?
Shit.
Like, culture was built by and for men, and I think that culture has improved in a lot of ways to where women are given a lot of rights and privileges that they should have had all along. But I think that also what that comes with is that there comes with, like, a lingering sense of resentment, where it's like a 20-year-old guy now isn't responsible for some sort of, like, patriarchal advantage that his great-grandfather had. And so, like, you can't use the patriarchy as, like, a reason to, like, tell a guy that this is the reason why you're a loser. And I think that's what really makes a lot of guys mad, is that they're effectively... You're basically giving people original sin. You're saying, like, well, because your grandfather, great-grandfather, like, whenever he grew up, he had advantages. Now, we're going to treat you badly and act like those advantages still exist. And there's, like, that lingering resentment and animosity that is culturally acceptable, I think, in a lot of cases. And you can just look at Twitter and you can see how culturally acceptable it is. Even look at mainstream media, or, like, look at, like, daytime talk shows. That is extremely damaging to men's mental health. to be told that you constantly have all of these advantages and the world is handed to you whenever you exist in a world where opportunities categorically exclude you from existing.
Which is probably why 40% of young men aged 18 to 45 meet the criteria for depression, and 49% of 18 to 23-year-olds have had a thought of passing themselves in the past 2 weeks alone.
Hard really to say if that's comparable. I think that probably those numbers went up for women as well, too. I think social media and the internet's brain rot for everybody. But, you know, I think that for guys it also is bad. But, like, if you look at it from, like, I don't think this is a male-only problem. A lot of these issues are, like, meta-level society issues that affect men and women. Obviously, the way that you approach it for men is different. And, you know, men and women have unique struggles. But I think also this is something, you know, a rising tide floats all boats, or a rising tide floats all toasters in a bathtub. Anyway,
and we're seeing the symptoms of this problem everywhere.
Rises all
The
toasters
sapping
in a
away of our
bathtub.
vision and ambition permeates in all aspects of modern society today. Our culture,
Well,
architecture,
what it-
relationships, bodies, and minds. Past civilizations before us have always placed.
He's speaking on the fact that today most of us are at a disadvantage going into work. Like if you're especially, I mean, if you're a male, like I don't know, you don't have the same advantages your grandparents had. Like you just don't. You can't go into these jobs. Women are far more likely to get hired because they're far more educated. Men don't go to college at the rate that women go to college. Like the system's no longer set up for a man to get a good job and raise a family. It's not set up for that anymore. You can't go and be an auto mechanic and make enough money to fucking survive in most places. Like you can't, the jobs you used to do, you can't do anymore. But yeah, our grandfathers fought in war. If we fought in war now, we would probably lose. Ground war. I think it's something like 75% of America doesn't make the fitness test to get into the military. But you're right. They fought in war. We didn't.
It's the emphasis on beauty, wisdom, and logic for all the population to see, with great town squares bustling with art, life, and community.
I mean, I think one of the things is that your grandfather knew that I graduate high school, I marry my wife, I start working at this factory, I'm going to own a house, I'm going to own a car, probably 2 cars, I'm going to own a boat. Like, that is gone, bro. You and your wife could work at that factory and not make enough money to pay a fucking mortgage. Like, so there's no path. Like, when you get out of high school and look at the paths to getting to a comfortable life, they're not there. Like, they don't exist. That breeds hopelessness, which then makes people not want to fucking work. Like, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Things were placed above all else as the bedrock of their societies, laying out a code of honor and struggle in its people to achieve greatness. Comforts were shown in...
There is no more virtue that is assigned to critical thinking and logic. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, and I think that, like, anti-intellectualism isn't really something that's new in American culture, but I think it's become so pervasive in, like, widespread American and also Western culture that it's become extremely harmful. It's like an unironic, like, I think that we've become a little bit inferior to where we used to be. I do. Absolutely. There is so much less of an emphasis, and, like, thinking for yourself gets you into so many fucking, like, you can trap yourself by thinking for yourself because you go outside of the box that you're supposed to exist in.
Art and culture, but as an aspiration for achieving something great, for following your mastery. But today our cities are mostly devoid of all of this character, and instead they're marked out by the most cost-efficient, bland, and sterile designs to facilitate a simpler, self-motivated purpose. It's why people flock all over the world to a handful of remaining cities that retain their centuries-old charm to feel and experience the character of bygone societies that were motivated by higher ideals. Ideals greater than our modern two-dimensional ways of thinking. With a prioritization of comfort, lust and opulence, and flashy materialism over individual excellence and greater community, we're now reeling in the aftermath.
We're about to be back down to tier 9.
I think it's that people have been divorced from being able to hope for anything
tier
better than what they
13 to
already
tier
have.
9.
That's the real reason. Like, you see this all the time, like, because it's true that working hard will make you, like, working hard will increase the probability that you will be successful. But I think that, like, the reason why video games are so popular and so many young guys like video games is because video games provide a guarantee that if you grind and you work hard at something, you'll see
get a
result.
reward. Yep.
Whereas
you
in
know
real
what,
life, a lot of times that doesn't
You know
happen.
what you're going to get. Like,
I
if you
think that
grind
it's
for so
actually,
many
like,
hours, you know what your
that's
reward
why
is.
young men are drawn to video games a lot. It's because they're an equal playing field in a way that nothing else in the world really provides them.
Still a generation of mandated mediocrity. And does this explain why men today seem to struggle more than ever while seemingly having more than ever? America in particular is not actually in a recession.
It's a good game. Just make sure I don't know if you remember, but make sure you cap it to 60 FPS. Because otherwise, if you're running over 60 FPS, you're playing the game in fast forward. That game has to be locked to 60, so make sure you lock it to 60. It's a great
In fact,
game.
on paper, the economy looks like the best it's been in a while. Unemployment has dropped, GDP is up, but what the people are actually experiencing is a completely different story. We can see this in a study by the University of Michigan on consumer sentiments, which gathers
This
data
boss
based
better
on
not
how
fuck me
consumers
up.
feel about the current state of finances. In 2022, it dropped to an all-time low.
I remember I
Prices
didn't
of
figure
our
that out
average
until I
daily
got to the
needs like
very
gas
end of the
and food have
game.
increased in unbearable percentages. In contrast,
The problem is that while the GDP has gone up by a tremendous amount, this is, I'm gonna have a Bernie Sanders moment here, is that it's the 1% that is enjoying those privileges. And I think that a really good way to tell is that I remember looking up when, like, I first started, like, this is kind of like a weird thing to say, but, like, I remember somebody asked me, like, am I in the top 1% for, like, income earners? And I remember looking it up whenever my stream first got popular, and then I looked it up maybe last year, and the top 1% for income earners has gone up by, like, 30% in the last 5 years. So, like, the very, very wealthy are becoming increasingly more wealthy, and then the people in the middle are experiencing stagnation.
That
and
energy
then the people
shield's a
who are
bitch to
poor
get down.
are just basically like, I mean, who cares? Rich get richer. Yeah, exactly. COVID made the gap way worse. Yeah, and, like, there's obviously, like, very traditional, like, economic indicators, like a Gini index or something like that. But I think that also, like, we can just simply go to the grocery store and, like, I'm, like, going through old receipts when I'm cleaning my house, and I'm looking at, like, a 2011 receipt,
No,
and,
fucking
like, I buy a meal
full
and
health,
it's $5.80.
one shot. I don't understand. Like, they gotta fix armor,
There it is,
bro.
right? It's right in front of you. Kind of like we're in the new Middle Ages. Oh yeah, no, we are advancing at
fucking so goddamn stupid.
Light speed
It's so
towards
stupid because
neo-feudalism. And
I don't
it's
get
already
one shot on
happening
tier 14
in
maps.
abstract ways,
I get
such
one
as
shot on
DoorDash
tier
and things
10 through
similar to
12
that.
maps.
Other
It's
types
fucking
of
dumb.
delivery and service programs. That's the first step.
Stupid
salary
fucking
increases
game.
do not match, putting a high strain on budgets.
Inflation is showing
and this will also become increasingly
God, I wanna
more
punch
powerful
something.
when
I'd like to
the,
punch the developer in his fucking throat.
Again, maybe a Hassan moment, Bernie Sanders moment, where the means of production are consolidated by a small handful of people, and AI allows that control to maintain itself. Because AI will consolidate the means of production among fewer people. It's a really huge problem, and I wish more people would see it from, like, a macroeconomic level. But I think that it's really disappointing to see everybody that's like everybody gets like really in the weeds about, like, identity politics and stuff. Because I feel like all of that, in my opinion, I think identity politics and the entire, like, all of the vitriol and animosity and discord that's created by identity politics, I think that it's done intentionally. This is a conspiracy, by the way. Might take another vacation for this. I think that it's done intentionally by elites and by the people who own mainstream media and by, the people who basically are in charge in order to get people fighting with each other rather than fighting against the people that are oppressing them. I think it's no surprise that identity politics went up Like, I mean, you can see, like, have you guys seen the charts of, like, the usage of the words, like, woke, or usage of the words, like, intersectional or something like that? Like, a lot of these, like, you know, new age identity politics vocabulary.
Just keep losing.
I think it's no coincidence that vocabulary started ramping up massively right after Occupy Wall Street. I just think that's a really interesting coincidence.
Great. Elemental weakness.
What
Good
are the
job.
odds?
Lightning
Signs
damage.
of slowing down as Americans pay over $1,000 a month more on the same essentials we were buying 3 years ago. Nothing's changed but price. The latest consumer price index for March showing basic necessities like our food, housing, and gas are all continuing to cripple Americans'
That's
wallets
crazy.
with higher prices.
I can't imagine food only being up by 2%.
Our wages are actually down against inflation since Biden took office. So not only are prices soaring, but you know, our wages, at least if you measure hourly wages, are not keeping up at all.
Keeping your head above water has become the new normal instead of owning a home with a white picket fence. The rich.
My understanding is that 2/3 of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. I thought it was like 30%, and I found out it was in fact like double that.
It's like 70%.
Incredible.
70? No, it's like 65% of Americans don't have $1,000 in the bank to pay for an emergency.
You know, in Firelink Shrine in Dark Souls 1, cramped.
And the poor are becoming poorer, with the middle class disintegrating completely. All the knowledge of the past of just going to college, getting a job, and buying a home immediately is just completely irrelevant for anyone working and living in 2024. Universities are...
It's not irrelevant. People, like, I have a lot of friends, like, I'm 34. And I have a lot of friends.
What the fuck was the point of this map? This map was... I finished it in like 2 seconds.
Make over $100,000 a year, and this is not counting people that stream. These are, like, long-time real-life friends.
Skyrocketed in prices to absurd levels. The housing market is in a complete giant bubble. Everyone's sending out job applications more and more, all while using these automated testing systems, applying up to 100 jobs a day and still not getting anywhere. All the while major companies repeatedly tell us that they can't find any workers for their companies. And
because the job prospect is terrible and people hate the job. That's the reason why. It's really simple. And also, I'm not saying that, like, it's not true, like, people don't have problems. All I'm saying is that there are a lot of people who still do make the American dream happen, but it's harder to do, and the barrier to entry for it is a lot higher. And I think that because the barrier to entry has gotten so high, it's become, it's not realistic. It's purely luck? No, it's not purely luck. That's not true. Like, I know a lot of people that I went to high school with that are losers. Well, they were losers because they were lazy and they fucked off in school and they were stupid.
The fuck is that?
No, a lot of people are successful because they work hard.
I've never seen one of those before.
It's nepotism? No. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Not a single one of the people that I'm using as an example obtained their job through nepotism. Luck plays a factor with everything, but so does hard work.
Results of this are clear. People are drifting towards more unfulfilling jobs, or just not even having a job at all, while the rich buy up resources, real estate, and everything that used to be the cornerstones of the middle class. That is now just an investment hidden through an offshore bank account for some giant investment fund.
This is a crazy exploit. I'm surprised that they haven't patched this. Well, I guess not, because they are the ones that are probably writing the laws.
What they want to do is create a nation of renters. BlackRock coming in and giving them more money than the houses.
You'll own nothing and be happy.
How much more do they give them?
They can give them, 30% above.
Really?
Which is money.
And then they just lease those homes out.
And they lease them out. It's part of this idea that home ownership and automobile ownership and all of these things, these legacy systems that people want to get rid of. And they go, rent a house, use Uber, Lyft, whatever.
Yep.
You don't need to own. What does owning do for you? That's that famous article, you'll own nothing and be happy.
He said the thing.
And because of this, all saving plans for regular people are halted because living paycheck to paycheck means there just isn't enough for a savings plan. And whilst there's still some hope to dig your way out...
I was actually having a conversation with a friend of mine about this the other day, And he was talking to me like, we were talking about like investments and stuff. And he's like, yeah, like I want to invest, but I just I can't put aside a lot of money to do it. And it's like, it sucks because like you're basically on like the hamster wheel. And it's like, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. And I think that's why people just get off the wheel, get out of the tunnel, and then they go back into the basement, and then they withdraw from society.
This does begin a damaged path. People end up working in a job that's not in their field, something that they hate to do every day, and eliminates the experience they need for the job in their field. And so
this is something that happens a lot, where I think that most people that go out to get jobs, people look for jobs that they don't completely hate, but primarily I think that people go to college to get a job that makes more money. Most people have their jobs for money first and passion second, if that's even a factor.
The experience they are getting is just completely useless for getting back on track. In effect, their now entry-level position is further deviating them from becoming lawyers, psychologists, or whichever career path they studied for. And if the middle class is experiencing this, then the lower earners are feeling this even more. The jobs they once had a chance of landing now go to the middle class, while they get hit a bump lower, which is putting millions of people in dire straits. They face working twice as hard for minimum wage, juggling between jobs, partaking in the gig economy with absolutely no security, all with an extreme
This is the feudalism.
To keep up with daily expenses in a completely overpriced megacity. And the truth is, both middle and lower earners are now taking a huge hit to their egos. They feel disrespected through no fault of their own. Well,
it's because you live in a society that doesn't allow you to have self-respect. I think that this is one of the reasons why there's a lot of violence in America too. It's like a macro level problem, is that you basically, if you don't have, like, if you're not affluent to an extent, it's almost like you don't deserve respect in society.
How all the monsters at?
Man wants to feel like a failure. They don't want to feel like they're not providing or on their destiny. Imagine putting in the hours and effort to get a degree and then
like you can look at it like this, right? Like back when my dad was in high school, people would bring their shotguns to school, right? They would like leave them in the car. There weren't school shootings that were happening all the time. And I think that as the economy has gotten worse and as people have lost the sense of community and culture, and as people have stopped being able to rely on and look forward to a future that's like good, then I think that you have that nihilism set in. And that's why I think that that's one of the, again, school shootings, there's 50 reasons why they happen, but I think that's at least a couple of them.
To take a job that's not even within the field you studied for. Well, this is just regular life for most people nowadays. It's making men feel incredibly depressed and isolated. They watch all this stuff on social media. They see people flexing the Rolexes on their Instagram stories. Meanwhile, they're struggling to survive, living a life they absolutely hate. And when friends and family ask about it, they suffer the humiliation of explaining why they had to take what was available. Even though it isn't humiliating at all, and they're doing what they can to survive, it definitely takes a huge effect on their mental health.
I think that like the conspicuous nature of things like streaming, for example, and also OnlyFans is also really damaging for people's mental health, because they see certain people that have opportunities and advantages that are sometimes unearned. Like, for example, like if you're born a hot girl and you're able to do OnlyFans, you have a huge advantage in life, right? Especially early on. And obviously, if you're doing that, you're making $100K a month.
I don't know how to get any more fucking waystones, man. They're just
21-year-old guy
for me.
is going to not really have.
I'm about to quit.
He's not going to have that. And so I think that the conspicuous nature of wealth inequality on social media really fucks with people's mental health.
Especially as it wasn't that long ago, where it was actually normal to enter the workforce with a mentor who would show you the ropes and encourage you and push you to
it. Yeah, well, here's the funny thing. If that Hawk Tuah girl wasn't conventionally attractive, we wouldn't even know her name. That's the truth.
That's true. If some fat bitch said what she said, nobody would have cared. I mean, I don't particularly find her that attractive.
Seems so bad because there was an opportunity to grow and reap more rewards. But this imperative step is slowly slipping away. Companies of prestige have forgotten the generation with no experience. And for many companies, this is what they want. This is actually the ideal scenario, where they have people so desperate, so in need of experience, that they can treat their workers like absolute trash.
Well, because the reason why they're being treated like trash is because they're only 3 years away from being replaced by a robot. That's the reason why. It's because the job is effectively like, it's like an Amazon warehouse. You used to pick up a box and put it somewhere else. Like, of course they're not going to give a shit about you. Yeah.
The 1980s, testosterone levels have dropped more than 50%, and yet we're told to ignore it. Why? Because there's a coordinated effort to suppress masculinity and turn men into something they were never meant to be. This decline is no accident. We're
Fat
constantly
and gay.
exposed to harmful chemicals in our food and everyday products, bombarded with estrogenic chemicals from plastics, junk food, and sedentary lifestyles, which is why testosterone levels...
That's actually a really good point. Like, it's weird because, like, so whenever I was on mandatory break,
I'm dead.
I was like
I'm dead, I can't
exercising
move.
and like doing things
All right, I'm done
physically,
for today, guys.
like 4 to 6
I'm not
hours a day,
doing this anymore.
because I was like cleaning up all the stuff in the
We're gonna
house.
finish watching this video, but I'm not. I'm fucking done with this
I
today.
felt
Shit's just
so much better.
frustrating me.
Straight
dying
up,
to
like
stupid
I
shit. It doesn't
immediately
make
felt
sense. We
way
ran
fucking
5
better.
fucking
It is
keys,
Fat
no
Jake Paul.
problem.
It is,
But
but
then
like
we fucking run that and get fucked. Oh, dude, this shit still has a long time left. I don't know if we're gonna finish this. It's super fucking annoying. I'm hungry. I think I'm gonna go eat, man. Super fucking frustrating. It's such a good game. It has such frustrating fucking mechanics. Like, they need to fix the fucking armor. Like, the survivability of Mercenaries is just not there. So pissed. Alright, guys. I'm gonna go eat some food. I may get back on. I'm gonna chill for a little while. I need to finish getting Waystone, so I may get back on. I don't know. Yeah, we got some games coming up. Nothing right now. Like, I don't want to start nothing new. Here, let me. We got a game coming out today. So, but it's not coming out till tonight. 96% positive. 1,390 reviews. Comes out tonight. In 6 hours. They added a demo. I'm not gonna download this right now, but it looks decent. Let's see.
Player は過去の記憶を失った武芸者となり、広大な中国大陸を駆け巡り、さまざまな英傑たちと出会い、戦乱の世を乗り越え。
I want to see actual gameplay.
を使い込んで習熟していくと新たな
This isn't gameplay.
Guardian of Peace.
There we go.
You claim to strive for justice, but have no way to achieve it. Tearing down the system without providing an alternative is mere wanton destruction.
I don't know. So anyway, that's interesting looking. We have some other games coming out too. It's just nothing really comes out till February, so we're kind of in a lull right now. I do want to play Indiana Jones, but I'm also not. I'm hoping my back starts getting better so I can start going back to like 4 or 5 hours a day. Like, it's right now, my back's fucking killing me from sitting here for just what I've been here for 2 hours and 40 minutes. My back's fucking killing me. Let's see. There was another one. Let's see. Top sellers. Ooh. I like Assetto Corsa. Heroes of Hammerwatch is interesting. It's already out, but it's an old school, like, RPG. Like, NES, Super NES style. Let's see what else. There's another good game getting ready to come out. Where is it? Oh, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. This comes out. This comes out in 2 weeks.
Have concluded and with headstrong.
It's a really good
acts
game.
of
I played the
violence,
first one. I really liked the
there will
first
be
one.
consequences.
Everything all right? Hey? We need more people. The best thing would be to recruit from your old comrades.
Well, if they're not already swinging on the gallows somewhere.
Will you help us, Henry?
It's first person like Skyrim. Looks pretty good.
I like that book.
Not sure what else. There's a few other games coming out, but I think they're pretty far out. Let's see. There's something else. What the fuck was it? Hold on. Oh, fuck. Sorry, guys. Does it have the releases for the year? There, here it is. All right, release calendar. We got... shit, we got Grand Theft Auto 6. Apparently. Doom Dark Ages, that's going to be good. Civ 7, I haven't... This is a RTS. I like the game. I used to play Civ 5 a lot. I didn't really play Civ 6 much. I don't know if we'll play that or not. Avowed. I think this game's going to be shit. It's going to be another woke game by Obsidian. I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's some issues with this game. So, Monster Hunter Wilds, which should be pretty good. We won't even talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Death Stranding 2, that's going to be fire. Alright, so these are the releases for this month. Let's go into next month. We got Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on the 4th. Civ 7th on the 11th. Avowed, again, I don't think it's going to be very good. I think it's going to get boycotted pretty hard. Yeah, I don't see too much more for that month. We got Assassin's Creed Shadows in March, but I don't know if I'm going to play it or not. I don't know. I want to boycott it, but I may pirate it and get it for free. Anyway, next, let's see. Killing Floor 3. Killing Floor used to be a good game. I think 3's been out for a while, though. Let's see. It doesn't look like much in April. April looks pretty dead. Last of Us Part 2. That's going to be on console, most likely, right? I know it's on Steam. May, we have Project Mist. Project Mist might be alright. That might be a fun game to play. That's really it. We definitely have some shit coming out. We'll have to see. I really want to push farther into the end game of PoE, but I can't. I need these fucking waystones. I'm getting really frustrated. I need to run a bunch of low-level shit. I gotta figure out... They have to fix armor, man. The reason I'm getting one-shot is because armor's broken right now, and my stupid character uses armor and evasion, so... Alright, guys. I'm gonna go eat. I'll be on tomorrow, 11 a.m., same time. I may come back on this afternoon and run some more PoE, but it's going to be a hit or miss. I don't know. Alright, guys. I recently reloaded Death Stranding. I fired it back up to play with it at 4K a little bit. There's a bunch of mods. So I re-downloaded it. There's some mods for it on Nexus Mods. I was going to see if I can make it look better. I want to see how good I can make it look. Oh, shit. Can you not see it? See, there's a bunch of mods for this game. I didn't realize there's tons of mods for it. So anyway, I was gonna play with that a little bit. I like Death Stranded. The best soundtrack of any of the games I've played in a very long time. All right, guys, let me get out of here. Thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully, we'll be back to normal soon. And I'll catch y'all later. Peace.